Joe Rogan Podcast. Check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day.
Yeah, good to see you, brother.
Yeah, how are you, man?
Great. It was nice to meet you at F1, and I really loved your episode of Sean Ryan. I fucking love that dude.
Thanks, man. Yeah, Sean is...
He's the man.
He's awesome. I love Sean.
I'm so glad there's guys like him doing this, that there's more people like him that are like finding new ways to, like, you know, media is so wide open now.
Yeah.
And it's not, you don't have to get hired by a television station anymore. You can just start your own shit, and Sean's show is fucking great.
Yeah, he's great. I love him as a person.
Yeah,
so.
I love him too. He's great. He's an awesome dude. And I loved you on that show, but god damn, man, that show was crazy. Like, your childhood was so nuts, dude.
Yeah.
Hearing about you living in a brothel when you were 12 years old.
Yeah, me and my brother.
Fuck, dude. Your whole story was so nuts, man. I was listening to it in the sauna this morning, and I was like, oh, my God. So I'm there cooking at 195 degrees listening to you struggle.
Yeah.
I was in there for a half an hour, which I usually do 20 minutes, but I kept going. I'm like, his life was so fucked up. I feel like I shouldn't bail right now. I should keep listening.
I feel like but I'm not the only one. You know what I mean?
No.
I feel like where I was in the Army is full of guys just like that.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, and I think in some, fighters as well. You know, a lot of fighters that I know, like Sean Strickland, a lot of guys that I know had fucked up childhoods. And I think it gives you an extra gear. I think when you can get through a childhood like that, you got an extra place that you can go to that other dudes can't go to. And in your line of work, that comes in very handy.
Yeah. I think it works like this. I never heard it as an extra gear, but here's the way I always equated it. You know you're going to get a beating, and it's coming at 5 o'clock. you know after dinner they're going to be hammered, and this is another argument and fight, and it's a pattern, right? And you know this as a kid, right? And what happens is you got to take that beating and then, like, put your church clothes on. We're going to church.
Ugh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the truth is like I think my brother more than me, but I think my mom actually had him convinced that we were super bad kids. And, like, you know, we were, I don't know, a couple years ago, I was like, you know, like, you ever met an actual bad, like, 4 or 6 or 8-year-old?
No. It's how they're raised.
Right?
It's all in how they're raised.
And then it was kind of like,
Yeah.
I think that was an eye-opener for him. But, like, it was always our fault.
Well, that's the thing. You can convince kids of almost anything. You can convince them that it's their fault. You can convince them that they're bad kids, and then they feel bad for the rest of their fucking life. They feel like a piece of shit.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there that didn't do anything wrong. They're just raised by shitheads, and for their whole life, they feel like garbage.
Yeah.
And they don't know why.
Yeah, I agree.
It's so hard to snap out of that, too. And it takes something for you to do that makes you feel valuable and worthwhile. Like, you have to kind of, like, relearn who you are as a person.
Yeah.
And some people never do.
Yeah.
And then they, you know, find meth or heroin or something that takes the edge away.
Yeah.
They can just exist.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, that was the Army for me. Like, the first time I ever felt like I fit in, or I was with people like me, was when I was, you know, in Ranger Battalion.
Yeah, I think fighting is the same way. A lot of those guys, the only time they ever feel normal is when they're in a gym with a bunch of other savages.
Yeah.
It's like it's guys who want to do that for a living. You know, generally something fucking terribly wrong happened when you were young.
Yeah.
That put this anger, this monster inside of you.
Well, I tell you, I tell people all the time, jiu-jitsu is my sanity.
Yeah. Jiu-jitsu is meditation, man. Because if you are doing jiu-jitsu, you can't be thinking about anything else.
Right.
So it cleans your mind up. You know, we were talking about bow hunting.
Yeah.
I think that's the same thing. I think in a different way. It's just when you're doing that, it's so difficult. You can't think about anything else.
Right. I love when I don't even care if I get or see an elk today. The places I go to get these elk, I could just sit there all day anyway.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
the fact that, like, one of these majestic beasts is going to walk 20 yards from me, fucking bonus. You know what I mean? Like, I just, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel the same about jiu-jitsu, you know? Like, I always like in jiu-jitsu when someone does like what you call high level jiu-jitsu to me as it's happening, like I don't care if you're smashing my fucking face. That was amazing. Are you kidding me? Like, let's take a moment here. You
It's
know what I
amazing
mean?
that someone can do that.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when I was first starting jiu-jitsu, I was like 30 years old, and I thought I was a badass. I had kickboxed. I had won a bunch of Taekwondo tournaments. I thought I knew how to fight. And I remember one day when I was a white belt, this purple belt just raped me. I mean, he was my size. This was what drove me crazy. He wasn't bigger than me. And he just destroyed me. Just did whatever he wanted. Triangled me, armbarred me, choked me. And I remember walking out of there going, I can't, first of all, what a like shift of like who you are in the world. Knowing that someone can just do that to you. Not a bigger guy, like someone your size can just, you're helpless. And then I remember thinking, I gotta get good at this. Like that, having that as a skill, that's like one of the greatest things you could ever have. Like, because that's what martial arts was supposed to be when we were kids. Like that the smaller person could beat the larger person just with technique.
Correct.
Until Hoist Gracie came along, you never really saw that. The bigger guys always won.
Right.
And then Hoist Gracie, all of a sudden, he's killing people from his back. And we're like, what is going on?
Yeah.
This is crazy.
He's losing. He's not losing.
All of a sudden, he's like,
Yeah.
He's strangling some guy with his legs. We're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, I agree. I tell you, I met Hoist, like in the early days, we'd bring Hoist, and Horian was actually the first Gracie I met before Hoist, right? But we'd bring Hoist in, and like watching these guys, like, we'd get like 60 guys up on the mat. And this is hard to do. And this is a lot of guys because it's Hoist, and he would run through every dude.
Yeah.
Every dude. And it was like, not like it was a close match. It was like whatever dude from the defo stepped in front of him was the 12-year-old child against an adult.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he just fucking handled everybody. And I remember one of those times, he just I did something and he cinched down on me like a spider and I couldn't fucking move. And he goes, yes, I did not think of this. This is a good move. And I was like, I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing. Like, you know what I mean? I wasn't even a white belt yet. He was just fucking me up, But I knew like right then and there, I was fucking helpless.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling.
And like, yo, unacceptable. You know what I mean?
Unacceptable.
Yeah, right? Unacceptable.
That's the right word, yeah. Like, you got to learn this.
You got to know some of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even back then, like, we would all tell Hoist, because we were more Muay Thai. We would train a lot of Muay Thai, boxing, right? Wrestling, a lot of wrestling, before the jits. And, like, we would tell Hoist back then, as soon as you learn to punch, you are super dangerous, which is, I think, where it is now.
This episode is brought to you by The Farmer's Dog. Dogs are amazing. They're loyal. They're lovable. Like, just having Marshall around can make my day 10 times better. And I'm sure you love your dog just as much, and you want to do your best to help them live longer, healthier, happier lives. And a healthy life for your dog starts with healthy food, just like it does for us. There's a reason having a balanced diet is so important. So how do you know if your dog's food is as healthy and as safe as it can be? Well, Farmer's Dog gives you that peace of mind by making fresh, real food developed by board-certified nutritionists to provide all the nutrients your dog needs. And their food is human grade, which means it's made to the same quality and safety standards as human food. Very few pet foods are made to this strict standard. And let's be clear, human grade food doesn't mean the food is fancy. It just means it's safe and healthy. It's simple, real food from people who care about what goes into your dog's body. The Farmer's Dog makes it easy to help your dog live a long, healthy life by sending you fresh food that's pre-portioned just for your dog's needs. Because every dog is different. And I'm not just talking about breeds. From their size to their personality to their health, every dog is unique. Plus, precise portions can help keep your dog at an ideal weight, which is one of the proven predictors of a long life. Look, no one, dog or human, should be eating highly processed foods for every meal. It doesn't matter how old your dog is. It's always a great time to start investing in their health and happiness. So, try the Farmer's Dog today. You can get 50% off your first box of fresh, healthy food at thefarmersdog.com/Rogan. Plus, you get free shipping. Just go to thefarmersdog.com/Rogan. Tap the banner or visit this episode's page to learn more. Offer applicable for new customers only. Yeah. Well, I think wrestling is kind of, there's like so many elite wrestlers now that have learned submissions, and that extra skill of being able to throw bodies around is another level.
I agree.
Because wrestlers can learn jiu-jitsu pretty easy.
Yeah.
An elite wrestler, you take a guy like a Bo Nickel or a Daniel Cormier, you teach him jiu-jitsu, they're gonna. Hamzat Chimaev's the best example of that.
Yeah.
You teach a guy like that submissions, he already knows how to ragdoll people. So he has this ability to take everybody down, and then on top of that, he's gonna break your neck. Like it's like that extra skill. I think wrestling is like the foundation. That's the one thing, because then you can dictate whether the fight goes to the ground or stays up. You know.
Yes.
And then once you learn submissions, which is pretty easy for a wrestler to learn, it's pretty similar.
It's the same sport. I used to wrestle, and it's like the cradle for the pin versus an armbar, right?
Sure.
In my opinion.
Darce chokes, all these different things come from similar positions. But then stand up. You know, you have to have stand up today because I think, you know, I've been talking about this a lot. I think when you have a fight and there's 5 rounds, say you have a fight, if a guy's mounted on top of a guy at the end of the first round, I think the second round should start with that guy mounted on top of you. I don't think they should start standing up because it doesn't make any sense. Like, you didn't earn that stand up. That guy took you down. He got on top of you. He's mounted on you. You're about to get fucked up. And then all of a sudden you have a reprieve from the governor because the round is over. Yeah. And now you're standing up again. And if you're a striker, that's your world. But you didn't earn that position.
Right.
It's one fight. It's not 5 fights. It's one fight.
Right.
So why should you have a beginning of every round where you're standing up?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
If I could change the rules, that's the first rule that I would change. I would say, whatever position you were in at the end of the round, that's where you start.
I completely agree with that. And I always feel like that it just fucks shit up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then, you know, this doing jiu-jitsu is like seconds matter. And this fight could turn around in seconds. But those seconds can't happen if we stop this early.
100%. Yeah.
I agree with that.
Well, the early days were wild, right? Because there was no time limit.
That's when I watched. The early days is my heyday. Like, I could not get enough. I was, fight dummy for Hoist, for Sakuraba. Who else? Oh, Hoist. So, okay, I'll tell you a quick story about Hoist. He comes out. We're doing jits with him. And I'm a new guy, so I'm like, hey, you could share my wall locker, right? And you got a wall locker, and you got like your towel because the shower's down the hallway. You know what I mean? Like, I have my clothes, right? And then, so Hoist put his family pictures, and I didn't notice this, but they slowly did this. Him and my team re-tagged everything with like my last name and team numbers with Hoist. Right, so they re-tagged all my gear as Hoist, right? They Hoist put his kids' pictures up over mine, right? And one day I'm in my locker, like, is this my locker? Like, what the fuck? What the fuck is going on? And I'm like, whose kids are these? Like, and then Hoist is like, yes, you like my kids? And I'm like, oh, those are your kids? Like, no, that's cool, right? Like, years later, I'm in Iraq, and I'm like, I got to go for like one of these surges into Fallujah with another squadron, and like their ops sergeant major calls me by name, and it's like, I've been in Iraq like 30 seconds. These guys are calling me by name. Like, what the fuck, And then he was like, we're getting your stuff. It's on the helicopter. You need to get on this Little Bird. We're leaving like 20 minutes. And literally I got on a Little Bird. They bring my kid over. I get my shit on, right? And they're like, yo, whose shit hey, Royce? Is there a Royce? Royce? You know what I mean? And then like my bag, it's fucking still tagged with Hoist's name.
That's
like
hilarious.
Years later, yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So you started training martial arts when you were in the military?
In the unit, yeah.
In the unit. So did they have was it like technical training? Did they teach you? Did they have like real instructors, or how does it work? Yeah,
so in training, when you kind of make it to the unit, there's a hand-to-hand program. A lot of the hand-to-hand program is like traditionally like you got to cuff people. You know what I mean? Like, which is all Japanese wrist locks, which is the foundation for a lot of shit, right? But, you know, you learn that stuff, like how, if you have a weapon, how to like approach somebody, if they grab your weapon, what to do. So it was all like weapon focused, like more like self-defense. But I think back then in my day, right, in the 90s, it was still, bro, come at me like this. You know what I mean? And you're like, why the fuck would I stand like this ever? Like, what the fuck was I doing that got me here? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so it was always back then there was a lot of hocus pocus. So we kind of had our own training program. And then as my years, the training program got better because we started getting hoist. We started ground fighting, you know. I think the premise for everything they taught in my day when I was a student was like, you know, weapons retention, Japanese wrist lock to get someone cuffed, you know, 2-man cuffing procedures, searching, and then like how to defend yourself if someone grabbed your weapon or if you went to the ground, right?
Right,
But-
which is all stuff you have to know.
right.
But there wasn't a lot of like just
No.
one-on-one.
No, it's like, you know, you're in the gym, they roll out the wrestling mat, and it's like, okay, come at the guy like with your rifle, you know, a bunch of fucking white belts basically, like out there fucking around basically.
Was it like was there a system, like a training system?
Yeah,
Was there like
there was a system back then, and the system was really I think kind of 4 things without really knowing what they did back then. I went through the training, but I don't really know what the hand was back then until later when I was like in the hand-to-hand program or fighting with guys, you know what I mean? But I would say this, back then I'd say it was wrestling, it was Muay Thai, right? It was a little bit of Japanese wrist locks and some Filipino martial arts.
Oh, like Kali.
Yeah.
Eskrima
We had guys that would do the sticks. I know a little bit of the sticks, you know, like first time I got smacked 37 fucking times around the head was another guy. This guy with his sticks. It was like, what the fuck was that? Like, how do these sticks move so fucking fast? You know?
Dudes who are good with that are very impressive.
Yeah, super impressed. So I think that was really the foundation. Like, and, you know, maybe like some, I don't know, like dirty boxing, I would kind of imagine. You know what I
Like
mean?
clinching and
yeah,
punching the
clinching, punching, stuff like that.
How did the Filipinos develop that stick fighting? Like, where'd that
Fuck, I
come
don't
from?
know, man.
It's weird that like one culture is known for their stick fighting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of odd.
Yeah,
Right?
but hey, I love all that. The stick fighting. What do they call it? Pontukin or whatever. The dirty boxing they do. Like, all very make your opponent off balance at the same time you can strike, or if they are trying to strike you, knock them off balance. Stuff like that.
I've always been so fascinated how different cultures have a completely different approach to fighting. Like the Thais figured out the best way to fight stand-up.
Yeah.
Kick the shit out of the legs.
Yeah. Fucking kick his leg.
Elbow the fuck out of people in the clinch.
Yeah.
Plung, knees.
Yeah, the
knees to
clinch.
the body, knees to the face. They figured out striking in a way that nobody else had. It's so
Right.
weird that they did it.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because of the competition all the time and the betting.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
like they were fighting so often and they had so much money on the line for fighting that they developed a very pragmatic way of fight because they were fighting all the time.
Yeah.
As opposed to like karate or any of these
Right.
other things. I don't think they were really fighting as much.
Well, we don't, I mean, think about America, like prior to Mike Tyson, boxing was kind of like Americans, if they would have seen like Rickson Gracie, you know, if Rickson Gracie would have been popular in like the 70s or 60s, people would have been like, well, that's not civilized fighting. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
right.
get your dukes up. This has got to be
Right.
fair. You know what I mean? Americans have a very fair sense of what fighting should be. Like Americans hate like dirty fighting, but you know all Muay Thai and Kali and all that. That was all seen. You know, those guys would come from Asia, fight around the States here, fucking kick everyone's ass, and people still weren't attracted to it. It's
Did
kinda
you
weird.
ever see, there's one fight that's like one of the most important fights in kickboxing where Rick Rufus, who is like the king of American style kickboxing, like above the waist kickboxing, fought this Thai guy. I can't pronounce the guy's name correctly, so I don't want to butcher it. But and Rick Rufus was fucking him up in the beginning. He dropped him. He had him in real trouble. Rick Rufus was really good, but this dude just kept chopping at the legs. And by the end of the fight, Rick's in a heap on the ground. And his own brother, Duke Rufus, who became a world Muay Thai champion himself later and became one of the best trainers in MMA. This is the fight. What happened?
I'll show you the name.
Oh, that's his name? Good luck saying that one.
Yeah.
But, this is not. This is like a compilation of a bunch of different people fighting. That's not. This is it. The fight that changed kickboxing. So this fight. Well, this isn't it. This is a bunch of other shit. Go into the fight itself.
That's fucking.
No, just go. Just
Chuck Norris. I seen Chuck in there.
Chuck was legit. Chuck was very
legit.
legit. So this is the fight. So in the beginning, Rick Rufus, who's like this above the weight kick, he drops him with the left hand. Rick was really fucking good, man. He was really good. But they just didn't know anything about the leg kicks. And after the fight, like his brother Duke was like, well, I don't think there's any skill involved in kicking the legs. And he was saying that, look, he drops him again. So he dropped him 2 times. Looked like Rick is fucking him up. But this Thai guy, he's probably had 200 fights.
Yeah.
And he just keeps kicking at the legs. And after a while, Rick's legs are just dead. I mean, the Thai guy's getting lit up. But Rick became an unbelievable leg kicker himself after this. But no one knew. They just didn't know. So as the fight goes on, and this is like a huge like challenge match. You see, like he drops him with this leg kick. After a while, Rick just can't move anymore.
Yeah.
And this dude, I don't
He
want
ain't
to
even running away well.
No, his legs are dead right now. And he's just getting, every time this Thai's kicking him, he can barely walk. And at the end of the fight, he winds up in a heap. Because he just doesn't know.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't know yet. And he's getting dumped too. Like, look at these fucking low kicks. Devastating low kicks. And at the end of the fight, he's just in a heap on the ground.
Yeah, his kick had no power there.
But the thing is, like, Rick was really fucking good back in the day. So when that didn't show the end of the fight, but at the end of the fight, he brutalized him with just low kicks. The Thais had figured something out that nobody had figured out, and it's kind of shocking that this one area of the world, like this one small island, that they figured it out.
Yeah,
It's kind of crazy.
I love it.
Yeah, I love it too. It's just, and then Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Until, Maeda comes to Brazil in like the 1930s or some shit. Whenever that was. And then the Brazilians are like, I think we can fix this. And then they start like, because Elio was a small guy, and Helio is like going, well, what about if we just did it this way? We fought with leverage, and just instead of using strength, we used technique, and changed everything.
Yeah.
Changed martial arts forever.
Yeah. I love
wild.
it. I love
It's
all
wild.
of it. Yeah. I'll tell you, that leg kick is my go-to in Iraq and Afghanistan. You know what I mean? Like, I get about this far from you. This is good distance for me. You can't grab my weapons. But what I would do is I'd throw the Thai leg kick, but I wouldn't aim for the middle of the thigh. I don't care about your pain. I'd hit your knee, and either it's going to break your knee or it's going to knock you out of your little fucking slippers. And then I just stand on your neck.
Yeah, it's one of the most effective things you could do. You take away someone's base.
Yeah.
And, that's a crazy thing about MMA is now we're learning that kicking in the calf is actually even more effective than kicking in the thigh.
Yeah.
Because there's no meat there.
Yeah, it
and
fucking
you
hurts.
slam a shin into that, and then all of a sudden your foot goes floppy. And it doesn't work anymore. Your leg's useless. It's crazy. And we've figured that out over the last 5 or 6 years, which is really nuts. Like Michael Bisping, who was a world champion, told me he went his whole career without ever getting kicked in the calf.
Wow.
And that was like, 4 or 5 years ago, he was a world champion.
Yeah.
And went his entire career without getting kicked in the calf. Nuts. It's nuts. It's like it's constantly changing and evolving.
Yeah.
Like people find something that works and they're like, oh, what about this?
I love that it's always evolving too.
Well, martial arts have evolved more in the last 30 years than they have in the last 30,000 years.
I agree.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
And that's kind of shocking. You think about how long people have been fighting.
I don't know. I see this, I shoot every day. I teach people to shoot all over the country all the time, right? And it's kind of interesting to me that I don't think it works like that. You know what I mean? Like you would think people would have been doing this right the whole time, but there's like a lot of myth involved, and and it gets watered down over time, I think,
Even
a lot
in
of
shooting?
times. Even in shooting, yeah.
Like, what are the myths in shooting?
Oh, so fucking many, man.
Really?
Like, do we got the time?
We got time.
I fucking shred this shit. The
Let's
NRA,
shred it.
I speak at the NRA shows. Like, the NRA hires me. I speak at the NRA show this year. I actually got roofied in fucking Dallas at
What?
the NRA show. Yeah, no shit.
Do you know who did it?
So this is crazy, right? But okay, I have an assistant, right? I don't know. She's like 30, blonde girl, pretty girl. Her and her husband are with me, and I'm with like the Surefire representative. Like, yo, sorry, we got you roofied, by the way. And then like some other guys, right? And we get done with the show, and we just go have a drink or two, and we're going into like the hotel restaurant to eat a nice steak dinner. You know what I mean? So we get a round of drinks, and it was like well old fashions is what it was. Well old fashions. And my assistant's like, I sit next to her. She's like, I just can't drink anymore. You know what I mean? Like, these are horrible old fashions. I just can't drink these anymore. And it was like, hey, we'll be at dinner in a minute. They got good booze at the good restaurant. We'll get anything you want, right? So she's like, okay. So I was like, here, I'll take it. So I held my cup up, and then I kind of held my cup up, the Surefire guy, her husband, and she kind of fills us all up equally. And so
somebody was trying to roofie her.
her, right? So, yeah, this is in Dallas, right? So, okay. So we go to dinner. I don't know. I get this Wagyu burger. It's fucking delicious. I'm kind of buzzed. I'm drinking good whiskey. You know what I mean? We're having a good time, right? I love good food, right? So I'm having a great time. Her husband's at the end of the table, and all of a sudden, and now this is like within 45 minutes of that drink, which I also didn't know, right? So his head hits the table, boom, and I look at him, and I'm like, is he okay? And then like, hey, you know how like, you know them blow up pools where you pull down the side and the water just kind of glides over the top? Yo, his mouth opens, and it was just like, whoa, across the table. You know what I mean? And I was like, I pushed it away from the table, like, so it didn't leak on me. And I was like, we got to go. You know what I mean? It's time to leave. You know what I mean? I'll get the check by the front door or something. You know what I mean? But
Right.
it's time
And
for us
you
to-
weren't feeling it yet?
No, I wasn't. I didn't feel anything yet, right? So, okay, so it was like I've never seen this happen to this guy ever, right? So this isn't him. Like, so it's kind of weird, right? So my assistant's like, hey, I'll take him up to the room. I was like, okay, well, we're gonna go have a few more drinks at the bar, right? So me and the other guy go to the bar. She goes up to her room, right? I don't know any of this is happening, but as soon as I get to the room, the head of security's knocking on the door. So my assistant answers, and I guess the guy was like, is there a guy that threw up in the restaurant here? And she's like, he's in the bathtub naked right now. Like, and then the head of security, like, hey, we watched the tapes. Ton of info comes out, right? So I don't
know who did it.
I think so, but like, and then
Did it tell you?
no. They talked to my assistant and then her husband, right? Like, so I go down to the bar, right? I put my credit card on the bar, and like, I fucking party till all hours of the night. Yo, what did I learn? If you roofie me, like, you're going to wait 6 hours to get that booty, because once you give me drugs, I want to party, baby. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm out. Like, I don't know what the fuck. The Surefire guy fucking peters out on me. You know, I'm probably just in the lobby alone, like, fucked up. I don't know what the
Do
fuck.
you know what was in it?
Fuck no.
It was just something. It wasn't necessarily roofinol. It was
Yeah,
probably something.
I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
So the next day we check out, right? Show's over, we check out. So my assistant's knocking on my door, right? And I'm a get up early guy. I do my cardio, you know. So I'm normally up early, and she's knocking on my door, right? So I answer my door, and I'm like thinking, the fuck is she doing here so early, right? Both of them, her and her husband. And she's like, you know, I'm glad you're okay. And I'm like, what? You know what I mean? And she's like, what? And she's looking at me. She's like, not you too. And I'm like, me too, what? You know what I mean? I'm kind of foggy, right? it was like fucking, it was checkout, his after checkout time. I slept till like fucking 1 in the afternoon the next day. I had the worst fucking hangover ever. Like, if that what roofies do, the hangover, I understand why people don't do them recreationally. You know what I mean? Like, I had the worst fucking hangover. So she's like,
Did anybody get tested to find out what it is?
no, they had to fly home that afternoon. They got me in my Sprinter van. I had to go to a class like somewhere else. I was on the fucking road. So like she got me, they drove me to breakfast, got me something to eat, kind of sobered me up a little bit, right? And then they went to the airport, dropped me off, and I drove somewhere else in Texas. I was working here. And then, the head of security talked to her and her husband, called them a couple days later, check on them, make sure they were okay. But long story short is we had a round of drinks that none of us ordered come to our table. And they came to our table from the same waitress that we had. You know what I mean? So somehow we got a round of drinks and we even paid for them. And when I got the bill, like, I don't know, we had 2 drinks and we were getting ready to go. And then a third one came and I just figured, someone ordered it. You know what I mean? It'll be fine. And then I just paid for it all, did not even think of it.
And so did the security know who roofied you?
I think so.
And they didn't tell you?
I think they told my assistant. I think they...
And you didn't ask her?
No. I didn't care. Yeah.
Oh, I'd want to know.
I think it was like a targeted thing where they just fucking rob you.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? I don't think... I mean... All right, first and foremost, I think everyone's trying to burgle booty holes this day and age, and you got to keep yours safe. So there's that, right? But I also think, like, I think it was like they know all these people are in for these conventions, so they try to drug somebody and just
rob them.
Just fuck. You could have just took my. I'd have handed you my wallet. I thought, you know what I mean? Fuck it. It wouldn't. There's not a crime.
It happened to a buddy of mine recently.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he met this girl, and they go back to his place, and then he wakes up the next day, and he's robbed. Stole his Rolex, stole $25,000 in cash from him, but he got tested, and he had, I think it was Xanax. She piled a bunch of Xanax into his drink. And he was just out. Didn't know what the fuck happened. Came to the club afterwards. He was like all fucked up. Came to the comedy club. He's a comedian. Hans Kim. Shout out to Hans. Hilarious guy. So he's like, something happened. I don't know what happened. We're like, hey man, go get tested right now while it's still in your system. So he goes and gets his hair tested, and they found that there was roofies in him.
Damn. I didn't even know you could be tested.
Yeah, you could be tested. Yeah.
Oh shit!
But there's like a time period. If you test hair, it'll like last a little longer. And I think he waited a day, so they had to test hair. But within a certain time period, they can test you and find out what it is. And they said, "Did you take any Xanax?" He's like, "No." And like, you have a lot of Xanax in your system, and apparently that's one of the things that they give people to rob them.
Dang! Does it cause a hangover?
I'm sure. It's got to.
I mean, if you're gonna drug
anything
me,
that's gonna whack you out.
Drug me. If you're gonna rob me, like, I just want to say this to the world: if you're gonna fucking rob me, like, give me the non-hangover shit. You're getting my shit anyway.
But what is the non-hangover shit?
Fuck, I don't know. Whatever that shit is. You know more about drugs than me. I was in the army my whole life.
I don't think it exists.
Damn it, Joe.
I think it's prescription stuff or GHB. I know a lot of people give people GHB.
I've heard of that.
That just gets you like, you don't know what the fuck's going on.
I've heard of that.
I've heard of people getting roofied that way. If I was a woman, I'd be fucking terrified to accept a drink from anybody.
Fuck.
Dudes I've talked to so many ladies that have had their alcohol drugged by someone. Women go to bars, they keep their fucking hand over their drink all the time, even when they're turning around and looking away, because they just never know. Some guy just dropped something in there real quick. Next thing you know, you're going home with them. You don't even know where you are.
I had a buddy, he doesn't even drink. Like, someone convinced him to have like a glass of wine, small town, North Carolina. And like the cops pulled him over, like, not far down the road. And he was like, I don't know what's going on, but I can't feel my hands. You know what I mean? Like, and he's just a regular guy, and they brought him back to the station, and someone had put, I think it was a little bit of fentanyl or some shit in the wine. And like he left, and he said he felt fine, and he was driving. He said, like, I don't feel right, even though like he had one glass of wine. Like he doesn't even drink. I don't even know why he had a glass of wine. Someone probably talked him into it. You know what I mean? He probably didn't even finish it, but. He's like, he said he was lucky. He felt lucky.
Fucking non-human people out there.
I'm telling you, that's one of the things I wanted to talk about today is like, there's fucking real evil in the world. And in Iraq, we're in Afghanistan, you go into these fucked up places where they've been like I don't know, fucking raping, beheading people, fucking
Forever.
tribal shit forever.
Forever.
Like there was buildings I didn't even want to fucking go in. Like you'd go and you'd be like, every fucking hair on my body just be standing up, and I'd be at the doorway and be like, I don't even want to clear this fucking building. You know what I mean? And I don't know fucking why, but I know there's fucking old evil in this world.
Evil's
man.
real.
It's fucking real.
And if you've never experienced it, you could walk around delusional, think, oh, come on.
It's real. You
It's
can
real.
feel it. Like when I'm around real evil shit, only 2 places I felt real evil shit in my life is Gettysburg and fucking in Iraq and
Gettysburg.
Afghanistan. Yeah, I felt that. Like I did because I felt evil before, and it like makes me want to throw up. It hurts my stomach.
You mean in the area of Gettysburg?
Yeah,
My
on the battlefield.
My stepfather felt the same thing. And he's not woo-woo at all. He's like a real straight-edge guy.
Fuck, man.
And he
then
said it felt so creepy.
I was almost gonna. Me and my son were out there ghost hunting, right? And we were both gonna throw up, and I didn't tell him, but like I had felt that feeling
It's
before.
crazy that you said that about Gettysburg, because my stepdad's never said anything like that before. And he said just the feeling, it was so sad and creepy, and you just wanted to get out of there immediately.
Makes me want to throw up. That feeling.
I think places have memory. I really believe that.
Well, I think it's energy, and I don't think
Yeah.
it can be created or fucking. You've talked to science guys, right? Energy don't go away, right?
Well, I think you just don't see it and you can't measure it, so you assume it's not there. But I think that's one of the reasons why when someone gets murdered in a house, they have to tell you about it.
Right?
They have to, because like people, they know. Like there was John Benet Ramsey's house when I lived in Boulder. I lived in Boulder for a while, and we were looking at houses to buy. And there was this one house. It was like really cheap for the house. I was like, this is a nice fucking house. They had changed the name of the street so they could try to sell this house, because everybody knew that it was the house that John Benet Ramsey had been killed in. They couldn't fucking sell the house. And we were fuck that house. We were looking at the house on like Zillow, and we're like, oh, this is a beautiful house. Maybe we should go check out this house. And then we found out. We're like, oh, that's why they can't sell it. Like, oh man, like they changed the name of the street to try to sell this house.
It's fucked up.
Yeah.
Should have just bulldozed it.
They should have bulldozed it, and then what do you do about the ground? It's still there. You
Bring
still
it.
would. Would you want to live in a place where they bulldoze the house where a little girl is getting killed? Fuck that.
Not even joking about it. I don't want to live there.
No one wants to live there. I don't even know what it is now. I mean, I don't know if anybody ever bought it.
Yeah.
But
I grew up in old houses in the Chicago area, you know what I mean? And like some of them houses were creepy for no reason, and some
Yeah.
weren't. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like
yeah. There's something to that.
But hey, I was in Iraq, and I was in one of them, like, you know, Uday and Qusay, like fucking raped people. Them guys were evil.
You
Like,
went to their palace,
all
that
of
kind of shit.
All of them.
Those guys
I
were
carried their bodies off an airplane and had to guard them until they got cleaned up by the morgue and DNA tested.
Whoa.
But them fucking guys, them palaces, like they would pick up like fucking 12-year-olds off the street. They didn't
They
give
feed
a
'em to dogs.
fuck. The lions, we found them fucking. So Uday had lions, and the lions were. It's not funny, but I mean it's kind of humorous. But I think it's funny. But the lions were like on the army side, the big army side, and they were inside this fence, right? And then the lions were like just lazy as fuck, didn't care about no army guys. And then one day I seen a lady and kids walk by, and they're just behind chain link, and them fucking lions went nuts. And I knew like
They've
only
been feeding them
that
ladies and kids.
fuck yeah, they were fucking evil,
I
man.
read so many horrible stories about those guys that they would find a woman who was getting married, and they would rape her and then feed her to their dogs.
Yeah. Or the fucking carp outside the palaces, you know, them big lakes full of these giant carps that just fucking eat bodies like you read about. Yeah, but so I was down in one of those one night just because, like, I could be, and I had my flashlight. Always been fascinated by ghost hunting, by the way. So I'm down there by myself just exploring, you know what I mean? And, like, this fucking door slammed on me, you know what I mean? I was freaked the fuck out. And I'm the only one down there, you know what I mean? Like, freaked me the fuck out, man.
Yeah.
And the energy down in those fucking like rape rooms or whatever I don't know what the fuck you call it. Like they did fucking bad shit there. It's just like, I don't know, like it like you ever ride like a roller coaster and it like turns your stomach?
Yeah.
That's how it feels to me in them rooms. I don't know what that is, but it makes me almost want to throw up. And the stronger it is, the more I feel like I'm going to throw up. But,
Those guys were such fucking monsters. It's just so crazy that story repeats itself over and over again. Like the sons of kings that grow up that way are always just super fucking evil because they have unchecked power from the time they're a child.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to be honest. If I could clone myself and I'd had like a mini-me right now, I would abuse him. Just to make sure he grows up right. I would raise him right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, when I say abuse him, I mean like
force him to work hard.
Yeah, fucking earn his
Get
shit
up.
his whole fucking life. I mean, like, I had a guy, like, I had a, I don't know what he was. I was in the Middle East somewhere, and one of the guys asked me, like, are American babies stupid? And I'm like, what? And he's like, are American babies stupid? And I'm like, why? And he's like, well, in America, like, there would be a fence at the edge of the cliff so the baby can't go over. In my country, like, the baby knows, don't go by the cliff. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, what the fuck?
Well,
Like,
I bet they don't. I bet the babies that don't know go off the cliff, and those genes never propagate.
again,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the most harsh form of natural selection.
Darwinism right there.
The most harsh form of it. Yeah, no fucking. I mean, kids that grow up outside, lock key kids. Like when I was a kid, you just
Same.
got left out of the house. Bye,
Yeah,
have
yeah.
fun, and you figure out who's the child molester.
Yeah, yeah,
You figure out who's a creep, what's dangerous. Don't go near the train tracks. You can't hear the train till it's too
Yeah,
late.
stay away
Because
from
you hear
the
about the kid
drunks
that gets hit. Yeah,
at the liquor store.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, I did the same thing.
you learn about danger.
Yeah, I tell you, I got my first key. I was 6. I fucking lost it like the same day. My mom's yelling at me, and she's like, what do you got to say for yourself? I was like, I still remember. It's like one of my oldest memories. It's like, I'm 6, and she was just kind of like, yeah, I'm 6. Like, I had it one fucking day. Like, I never carried a key in my life. Like, of course I'm going to fuck this up. And she was like, we can't afford all these keys. You know what I mean? Like, but at the same time, like, I'm fucking 6, So we ended up having to hide it somewhere. And then, because my brother wasn't good at fucking keys either. Like,
it's fucked up that I don't want that to happen to my kids. Like, I don't want my life was nothing like your life, but I was definitely, like, let loose in the world, and not really given any guidance.
Ton of let loose with no guidance.
But that's how you make a person like you. Like, a person like you doesn't come from a home that has, like, you're coddled, you're taken care of, you're always protected.
Yeah.
Like, the only way you make, like, a legit beast of a man is that man has to go through a lot of shit through their life, and then they come out on the other end hard.
Right.
It's the only way. Like,
Right.
You don't... I've never met like a world champion fighter that came from like the happiest of childhoods. It just doesn't exist.
Yeah. I don't. A lot of unit or special forces or ranger guys. Like, I used to call it the fatherless. You know what I mean? And it works kind of two ways. Either you had a dad, but he worked and he came home and he passed out and he woke up and he was gone before you got up. And when you got home, he was asleep on the couch or already out for the night because he fucking works fucking a lot of hours. Or you kind of just didn't have a dad, you know what I mean?
Right.
Those people make special forces soldiers. Just like, dad issues for a chick or put her on a pole. Those same issues in a dude puts them in special forces, I think.
Yeah.
And I'll take the fatherless all day long.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, those are the world champions. I mean, that's Mike Tyson, right?
Yeah.
He was 13 years old, no family.
Yeah.
He gets adopted by a guy who's a psychologist who's a hypnotist.
Yeah.
And is a great boxing coach and teaches him to become this elite fighter. And I kind of think that you don't become that guy unless you're dealing with all sorts of unspeakable tragedy and horrors when you're a child.
Well, you wouldn't have that kind of focus without that.
Right. You wouldn't have that monster inside of you. Like, you have to, that monster has to grow because it needs to be there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say like, and I don't know what the ratio is, but I would say like 1 out of every fucking 100 or 300 is like the fucking high school quarterback who married the fucking prom king.
Very rare.
Yeah. Like,
very rare.
I think I only
rare.
knew one of those guys.
Yeah,
You know
and
what
those
I mean?
guys, I bet if you dig into their childhood, their dad was probably a little abusive.
Yeah, or their mom, or
a brother.
Yeah, something.
There's another thing, older brothers. It's like you want to find the young brother. The young brother's the beast.
I'm the little brother.
Yeah, that's it. The young brother gets beat up by the older brother and just constantly in battle his whole life. Like so many fighters, the best fighters have like Chris Weidman's got a great story like that.
Well, I mean, think about this. If you had to fight your bigger brother off your whole life, you would be good at jiu-jitsu. Why? Because you understand leverage, you understand patience, wait for the move, take some punishment, move later. You know the deal,
You're
right?
also accustomed to being in battle all the time with your brother.
Right.
Yeah.
Rickson was a little brother to Holes.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah, and Horian. Yeah, Rickson is he's such a unique guy because he was like the first guy that figured out like that physical strength, yoga, all the gymnastic natural stuff that he did, flexibility,
breathing.
Like he was like a physical specimen on top of being super technical.
Yeah.
So he had like both things.
Yeah, he had it all, I think, way before people knew.
Way before.
Like he knew the winning mindset and how to keep that mental edge with all the other things. And the fighting was just something that he grew up to do, I think, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he had that samurai mindset.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I think I talk to a lot of people. I know some legendary guys from the Army, right? When he talks, it's like this weird time vortex. You ever talk to him? Like, seriously?
Yeah, I've had a couple of podcasts with him.
Wow, like, it's incredible, you know?
I went over his house once in, like, 2000, and him and his son, and we were watching Coliseum. So Coliseum was, like, the last time he fought, when he fought Funaki. And we were watching all the different fights. He had a tape of it, and we were watching it. And he was breaking down all the things that all these guys were doing wrong. It was such a fascinating education.
Yeah.
He was like, there's too much space.
Yeah.
This start here, there's too much space. And he goes, he had this philosophy.
Good accent,
He goes,
by the way.
He goes, we started at a neutral point. We started at a neutral point. If I get to 1, I'm not going back to 0. I'm going 1 to 2 to 3 to checkmate. He goes, I'm not going backwards. He goes, these guys, they lose position. They go for here, go for there, all this extra space. And he was like breaking it down while we were watching the fights. It was such an education.
Love that.
Oh, it was fucking amazing, man.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah, he's a legend.
Oh, man, like one of the great legends of martial arts. You know, if you like go into the history of martial arts, Rickson Gracie will go down as, you know, if there's a Mount Rushmore of martial arts legends, him and Hoist are right up there.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And Hoist will tell you, like Rickson, he goes, my brother was 100 times better than me.
Yeah. Well, when Hoist used to come to us, he would tell us straight up, I'm not the family fighter.
Yeah.
You know, and I think what he told us back then was like, I don't know, Rickson was pride contracts. UFC was different. Couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
That's why Hoist even fought, right? I thought that was kind of the deal back then, but
well,
I think that was a long time ago.
Horian, there was a bunch of different thoughts on it. You know, Hoist jokes around. He goes, look how beautiful I am. That's why they wanted me. But it was also because Rickson was very physically dominant. And the idea was like, let's have this guy that doesn't look physically impressive to show jiu-jitsu, to show the power of jiu-jitsu. But if that doesn't work, then we bring in Rickson. But obviously,
I didn't know that.
Hoist beat everybody. And then Rickson went over to do Japan Valley Tudo in like 94, I think it was.
I used to love all those. The Valley Tudos, Pride. I thought that was the best. Man.
The golden era of martial arts, because it's when everybody was learning.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, there's so much out there.
Yeah, I agree. I loved every minute
And then
of that.
Fedor Emelianenko comes on the scene. He's just like...
Fedor is my favorite.
One of the all-time greats. He's another one. I mean, if there's the greatest heavyweight of all time, you have to. He's got to be in the conversation.
I feel like back in the day, we'd be talking about fighting, and it'd be like, man, I wonder if anyone's ever like done this from like the mount. Fedor won like 6 fights like that, and then like, I wonder if anyone's ever done like something like this, and like, well, Fedor won his last fight just like that, and you're just like, fucking this guy, like,
you know, in his prime, he was a monster.
Yeah,
he was
I agree. Really?
And so stoic. Like his expression never changed.
Yeah.
He gets head kicked. He gets suplexed.
Yeah.
Nothing.
It's like no one's home in there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just didn't register. He was just a machine.
Yeah. I loved him. And I liked when he, I seen an interview one time. Remember his brother Alexander?
Sure.
He was like, Alexander is better than me if he just wouldn't party so much.
Yeah, he was an animal.
And I was just thinking, fucking Fedor saying his brother's better than him. You know what I mean?
Well, his brother was bigger and taller and was a nasty striker, man.
Yeah.
His brother was a vicious striker.
Had good kicks too.
Oh my
Good
God,
leg kicks.
he was fucking good, man.
Yeah.
But that was the days where everyone was just kind of figuring out what worked and what didn't work.
Yeah. You had Vanderlei, the axe
Oh
murderer.
man,
I love it.
It was also a time where everybody was juicy.
Yeah.
The whole organization was like, I had a friend who was going to fight over there, and he was 170 pounds, and they said, no, we want you to fight at 185. Go do steroids. Like, go do steroids. And he was like, what the fuck? He's like, they're telling us to do steroids. When Ensign was on the podcast, he told me in the contract, it said, like, in capital letters, we do not test for steroids. They're like, go have fun.
Yeah. Come back yoked up.
Come back juicy.
Yeah.
Everybody was juicy back then.
Yeah.
Because it was the wild days. It was like the Wild West.
Right.
And they just wanted the best, most exciting fights possible.
I think that's what people want now.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
There's a real argument for that.
I don't think the fans give a fuck about drug testing.
No.
I don't think, look, and I think this is for all, like the Olympics, I get it, but the NFL, like seriously, why you even fucking, why?
Right. What do you test? What do you want the sport to suck? Like baseball. That was the thing when they were doing like Mark McGuire and all that shit and Sammy Sosa. Like, why are you testing these guys? It's the most exciting thing is to hit a home run. These guys are doing something that makes them better at hitting home runs. Everybody should do that thing. Whatever the fuck that is.
Think about how much more money that bring those organizations.
Yeah, but there was this thing back then that it was cheating. But what it really is science. Like, they'd figure out there's a way where you recover more, you get stronger, you get faster. Like, hey, do that, guys. And by the way, everybody else is doing it too. They're just, like, hiding it in some sort of a weird way. They're just masking it and taking weird stuff. And there was, that Balco scandal where they're all taking this stuff called the clear. So they
never even heard of that.
You never heard of that?
No, I
had that guy,
this.
Victor Conte, on the podcast who created the clear. And he's a scientist. And what he did is Balco Labs, they figured out that when they're testing for very specific metabolites. So they took steroids and then they changed it slightly so that it didn't show up in the test. And they're giving them the stuff and they would all pass clear. And they were all fucking they're just monsters like Barry Bonds. He was a monster. I met Barry Bonds in 1994. I was on this television show called Hardball. And Barry Bonds was, he was still a major league player, a big-time player.
Famous.
But he was a regular guy. Like, he looked like a regular athlete. And then he started getting juicy. And then years later, he gained like 60 pounds and was just fucking gigantic and smashing home runs. Like, that would be good. Like, you should keep doing that, whatever you're doing.
I think that's all sports. Jump as high as you can. Take your fucking gear, jump high, run far, smash each other. Let's go.
Well, that's the enhanced games. The enhanced games doing that. They're developing this whole protocol right now. And the enhanced game is going to let people do whatever the fuck they want that works. Yeah. And their idea is we are going to develop the best athletes in every discipline. And then we're going to give them a lot of money. And we're going to, fuck the Olympics. The Olympics is a giant scam.
Yeah.
Because the Olympics, the athletes don't make any money. And NBC and all these broadcast networks and the IOC, they're making billions of dollars off the backs of these athletes' hard work. And no one is going to see them. They're going to see the athletes.
Right.
I mean, the athletes aren't even compensated. It's a crazy scam. It really is, because it's not like if no one made any money, including the networks, including the IOC, great. But that's not the case.
Yeah.
Someone's making a fucking shit ton of money, but it's not the people that are putting in the hard work. It's the people that are pointing cameras at them.
Yeah.
It's the dumbest fucking thing of all time.
Yeah, that's
so the enhanced games is like, let's throw out the drug testing, let's encourage people to do whatever the fuck that works, and let's give them a lot of money. So, whoever wins, whatever, they give them $1 million.
Yeah.
And then you'll get, the elite athletes will be like, well, why am I wasting my time competing for free? Maybe I blow out an ACL or herniate a disc and my career's over and I don't have shit to show for it. Or I can do steroids and then win and have money for the rest of my life.
Yeah. I want to watch the steroid sports.
Of course.
You know what I mean? the enhanced league or whatever it's called. Like that sounds to me like the NFL's going away.
Yeah,
I want to see the mountain hit another mountain. You know what I mean? Like,
Could you
let's go.
imagine if they told the NFL, let's just say everybody get juicy.
Fuck.
Those guys are already freaks.
They're already doing it. Like,
probably.
You know what I mean?
Have to
I
be.
mean, I only imagine. I don't know.
Have to be.
My 2 cents is like, you're doing it anyway. Just fucking go with it.
The way I understand
Just
it
don't
is
talk
they
about
they let them know when testing is happening. And so then
Why
everybody...
even waste the fucking money?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
phone it in. Let's just phone that in. You know what I mean? Like, yo, I took that drug test. Okay,
Yeah.
click. Save some money for everybody.
The drug test should be multiple choice. That's
Yeah.
We'll fill it out. No, nothing.
Yeah, the drug test
Let 'em
should
in.
be, we're just kind of curious if you've
Right.
had any success, and
Right.
then we want to know what works so we can recommend
Yes.
better stuff to people.
Right. But
That's
there's
what I
this
would do.
weird thing about, protecting the athlete's health. Like, hey, fuckface, they're playing football. If you really cared about their health, you would tell them don't play football.
So true.
There's
Yeah.
no way you
Yeah.
care about their health.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense.
I mean, there's inherent natures of danger there.
Yeah.
Concussions, knees,
Yes.
shoulders, right?
Yes, everything gets blown out.
Yeah.
How about vaccines? How about you making them get vaccinated and they're having fucking heart attacks on the field? Does that make any sense? No.
None.
You don't care about their health. You're full of shit.
Yeah.
Those guys didn't have to worry for a second about COVID. They're elite athletes of the highest order. Do you really think that something that is literally only kills like 0.03% of the people who get it, and those people, or most of them, have comorbidities? You really think elite athletes of the highest order had to worry about that? Of course they didn't. It's all bullshit. You don't
Yeah.
care about them.
Yeah.
Let them get
Yeah.
juicy.
Yeah, fucking juice it
Let's
up, boys.
go.
Get that gear. You know what I mean? Hey, let's take those piss cups and turn them into fucking drink cups and
Yeah.
serve them some whiskey in the locker room. Let's get this shit going. And I want more fighting in my sports. You know what I mean?
Well, that's why I like hockey.
Yeah, I love
Hockey's
hockey.
the last sport that allows fistfights normally in the middle
Yeah.
of a sport.
Yeah.
It's the only sport that
Yeah.
allows the occasional fistfight,
Yeah.
which
Well,
is kind of crazy.
I live in North Carolina, and there's like a little local hockey team at Bragg, and like I go to a lot of hockey games because it was like $7 for like a long time, you know what I mean? And they'll fucking blood on the ice on the Thanksgiving day. They'll throw like they'll have like a non-league team come in, and it's fucking blood on the ice, man. These like the Southern Provisional Hockey League, like I love this hockey.
It's just
you know?
wild that that's the only sport where fist fighting is allowed.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy because it's grandfathered in.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
it's basically bare knuckle boxing in the middle of a sport,
Yeah.
which is real weird.
Yeah. Well, then you got soccer where, like, you rubbed elbows with the guy and he falls over.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck? You're faking it. Like,
Yeah.
I have children. I know the faker. Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm a parent. You can't fool me.
Well, anybody can see. It's
Yeah.
the dumbest thing. Like a hand hits
Yeah.
their face.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. They fall on the
They
ground.
fall down and they're fucking holding their side. They're holding their chest. It's so dumb. But it's also one of the reasons why it's not really accepted in America. Because
Yeah,
you
I
watch
agree.
that flopping, we're like, come on, get up. This is so crazy.
Yeah. I totally agree, man.
Especially when people watch football.
Yeah.
You're watching guys get fucking waylaid by
Yeah.
a 300-pound super athlete. And
Yes.
They get up and shake it off.
Yeah.
And then they're right
Yeah.
back on the field.
Yeah, the guy's like adjusts his helmet a little bit. You know what I mean? He takes his mouthpiece out. You go, all right, and go fucking move on.
I just started watching football literally this last year. And, when I see guys collide, I've had so many injuries, knee surgeries and shit, and jiu-jitsu injuries. I see guys get hit. I just like fucking hold my knees. I hold my back. I'm like, oh. Because it's the most brutal shit of all time. A guy who's 290 pounds is running
Yeah.
full blast and colliding with you with 100% of his strength.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah.
I used to, when I was 38, I was a sergeant major in the Army, and like, I don't know, hand-to-hand jiu-jitsu kind of got boring for me. So like I was looking for other hobbies. I was at the PX and I seen like the Fort Bragg rugby team practices like Tuesday at 6 or something. So I just went out there for something to do, man. And I'm going to tell you, you think fucking jiu-jitsu fucks people up? Fucking go play fucking rugby. Matter of fact, stay the fuck away from rugby.
Yeah.
Like, it's fucking brutal. And like
No helmets.
no, nothing, man. And like, when I was a kid, I don't know if I can say this, but we played smear the queer all the time. Like, I don't know what you call that, but that's what it was just called when we were kids. I'd come home, my shirt would be ripped. I'd get another beating because like you ripped another shirt. These are expensive. You know what I mean? But like, it's my brother's anyway, right? Like, not like you bought me a shirt. But man, it was like crazy. My first practice, like the ball's sitting there, and then one of the coaches is like, grab the ball and run. So I just fucking grabbed the ball and just ran every one of these little motherfuckers over. And then like guys were like, man, what college you play in? I was like, none. And I never played a rugby a day in my first game, was like fucking in my third practice. You know what I mean? And
That's
like,
crazy.
But in doing jiu-jitsu and fighting people in Iraq every night, like I thought rugby was kind of easy. The guy's running at me and I just got to take him down, fucking double legs. And then I started getting more tackles than anyone. And my coach, they keep stats and be like, you had like 80 tackles a game. How do you do that? And it's like, double leg takedown, single leg, maybe a trip.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then like one of the times, one of the coaches was like, hey, will you teach us how do you normally tackle? You get the most tackles, and like double, single legs.
So you're basically teaching them wrestling.
I just taught wrestling moves.
Why don't they teach them that? That would seem to be like
I bet
a good
the
skill.
pro level fuckers are doing that.
They have
shit.
to.
Like, have to. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because think about this. Like, I know a lot of linemen do like Cali for hand speed and stuff like that. You know what I mean, right? Because they got to
Yeah.
win the hand fight. So
Right.
I know there's a lot of sports that use a lot of discipline. So I would imagine they would have to be fucking having wrestling practice or tackle practice, right? I would imagine they're doing same shit as everyone else for.
Well, just
fucking takedowns.
understanding leverage and how to manipulate a body.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, there's no pads. So,
Right.
You can't come 30 miles an hour into this tackle. You might have to come in at 10 miles an hour. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
Because you got no pads,
Right. Well, that's the argument against pads in football, is that these guys, the
Yeah.
only reason why they can play the way they are and collide
Yeah.
with each other full blast is
Yeah.
because they have helmets and pads
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Which is totally true.
Yeah. I want thicker helmets and more collisions. Let's go. Like, come on.
It would be a wild game if you had American football and no pads. I mean, that's what they used to do. Way
Yeah.
back, they had those little leather things
Yeah,
they
the little
wear on their
leather
head.
helmet. Like, you couldn't pay me to wear one of those. Just get the fuck out of here with that.
I wonder how many guys died playing that.
Imagine how many concussions.
Oh, how many head-to-head collisions
Oh.
running full blast. And then, if you're Samoan, you're like
Yeah.
some big giant dude,
Yeah.
you're going to go head-to-head with guys because you know you're going to win it.
Yeah, fuck every time, man.
So you're
Like,
just fucking
yeah.
headbutting everybody.
Yeah, the Army team has a lot of Tongans. There's
Oh, yeah.
Fort Bragg. Tongans are paratroopers as people. I don't know how that works, but they are, man. They all play rugby. A buddy of mine was like, I was like, when did you start playing rugby? He was like, I was like 3, huge guy. Like I knew I was doing pretty good at rugby when the Tongans were like, they'd pick teams, and all the Tongans would be like, we want Big John. You can have the rest. And I'd be like, yeah, me and the Tongans will get some, right? We'll fucking crush the people. But like, they start playing with like a coconut.
Jesus.
Imagine holding a coconut and just going down ribs on a coconut. Like, and I'm like, why would you play with a coconut? And he was like, well, there was only one rugby ball on the island and the bigger boys had it. Like,
Jesus.
oh, okay. Like,
Yeah.
but I played rugby for a while, and I stopped doing MMA to play rugby. But what I realized is rugby's way more injury prone and dangerous. So I kind of went back to jiu-jitsu.
Oh, yeah. One-on-one is definitely, you can control a lot more of what's going on than a bunch of dudes
Yeah.
colliding into each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree, man.
It's a
So
hard fucking sport.
I know rugby's awesome.
It
man.
is awesome. It's weird how it never took off in America. It's kind of strange, because we love violence. You would
I know.
imagine that rugby would be something that we would have adopted.
I think the only reason it's not popular is because of the time. Like, it's like soccer. Once it starts, it doesn't stop. Americans want to go take a piss and get another beer and come back, and then they
And
want
have
you
to
to
have commercials.
Yeah,
That's
and like
the big thing about soccer.
and the game never
tough,
stops.
Tough to sell commercials. 'Cause
Right.
You can't stop the game.
Right.
Whereas football, you have
Right.
halftime, bro. You got a
Right.
whole half hour.
Well, you ever see the apps that just show you the plays of football? A whole game's like 12 minutes of actual work. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? 10
Right.
minutes. You know
Whereas
what I mean?
soccer, those motherfuckers are running the entire
80 minutes,
time.
let's go, and it
Yeah.
doesn't stop, you know?
You have to be in insane shape to play soccer. The cardio is just nuts. You're basically sprinting for the entire game.
Yeah. I never played soccer, and I don't think I would enjoy it.
Well, we went to watch. They have a professional league here in Austin, and these dudes have these fucking quarter horse legs.
Yeah, I
they're
bet.
like thin upper bodies and these fucking giganti legs because they're just constantly doing plyometrics. They're just constantly
all day.
sprinting and going side to side and left and right and fucking crazy cardio.
Yeah.
But it's never going to sell in America if you can't have commercials.
Yeah, I think that's why rugby's not popular also.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Maybe they just change the rules a little bit,
Right?
you know? Okay, give us a little
Well,
break
it's
every
kind of
7
crazy.
minutes.
Yeah, here's what we're saying is rugby starts and stops without a time. That's the same thing we want for you just said for
Right.
MMA,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Well, that's the problem with MMA too, right? You can't have a no time limit fight because
How are you going to get the next fight at midnight or
also
10 o'clock?
dudes
or,
would kind of fight to the death. Like if you get the best of the best today where they're so evenly matched and they're brawling
it
for
could
an
go
hour.
4 hours, 5
Oh.
hours. Like
and then it would probably end your career. Like at the end of it, you might not
You'd
ever
be
be the
spent.
same again. Yeah.
you'd be spent. Like you got one of those in you.
Right. Because there's a lot of guys, like there's a fight, and you could point to that fight and say he was never the same. Like
Yeah.
Tony Ferguson, Justin Gaethje. A lot of people point to that fight. Justin Gaethje battered Tony Ferguson so bad. He was undefeated up until that point, or maybe he lost a couple of times, but he was the boogeyman. Tony Ferguson was the scariest dude in the sport. And then one bad beating, and he was kind of never the same again. Because one
Yeah.
bad beating just
Yeah.
changes everything.
Yeah.
You just never really recover.
Yeah. Well, once you lose the mental edge, right? Like,
There's a little bit of that, but there's also like a bad beating to the brain. Like he got hit so many times in his head. A bad beating to the brain after a certain. I mean, no matter who you are, if you're sparring and if you're fighting, you're getting hit in the head. Period. And so over the course of your career, you're already accumulating a certain amount of abuse, and there's one fight that could break the camel's back.
yeah.
Like in boxing, I always point to Meldrick Taylor, Julio Cesar Chavez. Like Meldrick Taylor was the fucking man, won the gold medal in the Olympics, and Chavez just methodically broke him down and then stopped him in the last round of their fight. Like literally at 2 seconds to go, Richard Steele stops the fight. And from then on, he was never the same. It was just he took so much of a beating in that fight that he was never the same again.
Yeah. I think that happens with soldiers too. I've seen a lot of guys who are like, we got mortared or rocketed, and then next deployment guy doesn't want to, you know what I
So
mean?
it's a
Guys-
mental thing.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
there's a time where everybody says enough's enough, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
whether you want to or not, and then once you reach that point, like coming back from that point to
Right.
become that mental champion again, it's a fucking long road.
Is there anything like you as a leader when you see a guy who's maybe crossed over in that way? Is there anything that you would do to try to bring him back, or is there nothing that can be done?
That's a great question. Define bring him back. Define what's wrong with him.
Right. I guess a confidence thing, or just
Yeah.
being terrified.
So
Like new fear being
Yeah.
introduced. You know, a lot of guys think they're indestructible
Yeah.
until they're not.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden now this is a new factor.
yeah, I used to teach tandem jumping and bundle jumping in the military, and I don't know if you ever see my social media, but like I'm in the sky flying and there's that huge barrel under me. I used to teach that, and what would happen is if you had a bad jump, bundle jump, you would have to cut away, and we called it the nightmare, right? And you got to end the nightmare, and this thing starts spinning you out of control. It'll be so many G's that like you'll pass out. The parachute will open later, right? You'll be fine. But we used to tell guys, right, like fucking end that nightmare. Make sense? Now, you're the captain of the ship, so a guy would have to end this nightmare however he ended the nightmare, right? And then what would happen is afterwards we'd review the video and I'd have to show a guy, right? And then we'd leave him in the classroom for a minute and we'd tell him, hey, gather your emotions, whatever you need to do, and then get on the next plane.
Get right back on the horse.
Get fucking back on that next plane.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And guys would do that. You know what I mean? A lot more SEALs needed that time than like unit guys, because unit guys like, yo, I'll fly this motherfucker up your ass. We ain't gonna have no problems today, son. You know what I mean?
What's
I'm
the
gonna
difference?
I don't know. I think the difference is look, the unit is always more mature than SEALs. It's an older culture. It's older guys, more experienced guys, more methodical guys, more planned out. So like in a lot of times, like, you know, younger guys, normally the SEALs, they'll have their jump numbers, but they're like their core, their what makes you, confidence, dexterity, strength, fucking health, it ain't there yet. And they kind of freak out once in a while. Younger guys. It's a maturity thing, I think. Normally happens to the SEALs. Most unit guys are pretty mature and have been through so much shit by the time they get to the unit that, like, you're probably unshakable by then. But
you see that in fights, too. Like, young, undefeated guys who fight like a world champion who's like in their 30s, and that guy breaks them down. And then you see like they don't know what to do when things are going sideways, and then mentally they fall apart. Yeah, that's right. That's when the bad decisions will start. You know what I mean? And the reality is you got to snap your fucking self out of that. You got to fucking put your parachute back on and get the fuck back on that airplane. I had plenty of those jumps. I've cut away more. Fuck, I had a cutaway training for D-Day last year. If I can put my cutaway, you can see how fucking low I am and everything. You know what I mean? And I have procedures. I have another parachute. Like, we're all going to die. Am I going to let it ruin my day kind of thing? Like, let's fucking move on. You know what I mean? But how did you develop that mentality? Just over time?
I think that comes with what I just said is the core of a person. And I think this is what the Army is really good at, is developing this core, right? In this core, right? How do I develop your confidence? Well, I don't fucking know. I couldn't even define fucking confidence because I went to the Chicago public fucking school system. But I could tell you this. If I taught you to rally race car drive and you got pretty fucking good at it. If I taught you jiu-jitsu, eventually you're pretty fucking good at it. I show you skydiving, eventually you're pretty fucking good at it, right? Why? Is because every one of these things I showed you world-class level. And we brought world champions in to show you, right? Eventually, you're going to gain confidence. It's the taking your daughter to karate or little kids to jiu-jitsu. They have confidence that other kids don't have, right? That's what you got to build. So it takes a lot of different skills and getting guys good at a lot of different skills to build that fucking unshakable core. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And it's a matter of, when do you introduce them to like extreme adversity? Do you build them up slowly?
Right. And it has to be built slowly, right?
Yeah.
And then we used to say this, like aircraft training, right? Let's say you got to breach an airplane, right? And you got to climb a fucking 20-foot ladder because these motherfuckers ain't low to the ground, right? And you're hanging on a ladder and you weigh fucking 280 pounds in your shit, but you're on these fucking ladders with fucking 6 other guys who all weigh the same as you or more. You got to crack the door, get the fuck in this airplane, right? Now, let's just say this is your first time and you crack that door the first time, and as an instructor, I know you're cracking the door, and as soon as you crack that door, I fucking shoot you in the face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And with a training round, right? How fucking embarrassing, right? And then the reality is, yo, you just ruined this motherfucker forever.
How do you breach an airplane? Like what's a successful protocol for breaching an airplane?
Mechanical or explosive?
What do you mean?
Sometimes we open doors, sometimes we blow doors. It depends. So which one you want to know about?
Okay, let's go with mechanical.
Yeah, most doors have a lever on the outside that can be activated, and most doors, there's a certain way they open, right? My team, I was always kind of like a primary door guy, and then there's a certain way doors open, there's latches, so all airplane doors open from the outside.
So, but once you breach it, though, you're in a tube.
You're in a tube.
And everybody knows where the door is.
Yes.
It's a very vulnerable position.
Yes.
So what's the protocol for breaching a door when you're in a tube like that?
So what you have to do is breach as many doors as possible and get as many people in as possible, as quick as possible, and everyone goes to positions, right? You got cover guys, you got runners, you got searchers. There's a lot of shit that needs to go on these fucking aircraft. Same with a fucking big cruise liner, right? So everybody's going to, once the door is open, everyone's going to flood in and kind of like go to their places. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Right. So you plan it out, you
Yeah.
know where you're going to be,
Yeah.
and then you're still dealing with the chaos of
Yeah.
you're in a tube and
Yeah.
there's only one way in.
Yeah.
And things are
Yeah.
coming at you, no
Yeah.
matter what.
Yeah.
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 So there's no clean way to do that.
Not even once. Not even once. No, fuck no, man. You know what I mean?
What a crazy fucking task.
I know, but the back to the point is, if a guy cracks that door, any door, let's say it's your first time, I'm showing you like, all right, Joe, I'm going to show you some, close quarter battle. I'm going to show you how to clear a door, and then just joking around like you're about to go through a door and I shot you in the fucking forehead. You would mentally never want to go through that door again, right? So
Right.
I have to build you up to where, well, the first time you come through the door, well, I just let you come through the door.
Right.
And then it builds from there.
Got it.
And then there's a point where it's like, whoa, this motherfucker's shooting through the crack of the airplane. Wait till I'm in this fucking bitch. I got 2 pistols on me. This motherfucker's going down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So as your confidence, your core, that core of a human being, like that core of an operator, right? As that like becomes fucking concrete, a guy's just unshakable. Like, let's go. I don't give a fuck what this position. I don't care. Like, I don't care if I fucking die. Let's do this,
And it's consistent training over and over and over
and
again.
over and over.
Do you think that this is what's missing in the police force?
Oh man, are you kidding me? First off, I work in a lot of police departments. I love police. I support police all
do
the
too.
time. It's a fucking thankless job. I'll
is.
say that.
Yeah.
But I would say, like, think about this, Joe. If you trained police better, right? I work at a lot of police academies. I've helped a lot of police academies. They don't fail people anymore. I show them what I do. I train them to do what I do. They have great success with it. I would say this in a police academy. Let's say it's 6 months long, whatever they do. I don't fucking know. Probably about 4 months of that is fucking paperwork. And then, you get a little hand-to-hand. You get a little driving. You get a little shooting. And then you learn what?
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you this. As a cop, you got the rest of your life to do that paperwork.
Right.
And when you're in training, right, as soon as you get your first arrest, your training officer is going to be like, don't write it that way. Hold on. Let me see your paperwork like this.
Uh-huh.
The paperwork could be OJT, and they could spend them time, right, training these guys. And I'd also say this is, if police were trained better, and truly uniform officers are probably the only guys like stopping crime as it happens. If we train those guys better, why would we need SWAT teams?
Right. You would have
We-
SWAT teams through the whole thing. They'd
Everyone's
all be SWAT.
Everyone could be SWAT. And if
Right,
we got
and they
10
should be.
and 10 of us come together,
Yeah.
we're our own SWAT team.
Yeah.
We don't, and then we could operate independently. We could operate 1 or 2, and I think police don't do the force multiplier thing. Like, each guy is his own fucking bastion of the law. You know what I mean? Like, I just think they kind of share injuries. They don't do hand-to-hand, right? Shooting could be dangerous, right? And then most shooting is, the instructor is God and you are fucking stupid. That's how most training is. It's like basic training. And no one learns well like that either.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I'm always shocked when I see fat cops, like really fat cops, and I'm just like, how your whole life is your body, like your whole life is you have to be able to physically defend yourself. You have weapons, you have the law and the
Right.
uniform and bulletproof vest and all that, but your physical body is almost useless.
Yeah.
I was at a football game the other day, and there's this like obese cop, like enormous belly. I was like, this is disgusting. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You've let yourself get to this point where I know you can't even run.
Yeah.
You can't last 30 seconds. All someone have to do is grab a hold of your arm that you would use to take your gun and control that arm, get you to the ground, and you're fucked.
Shit, I just baseball collar the back of their fucking collar of their shirt. Where the fuck are you going? You know what I mean? Like,
It's crazy.
Yeah, look, okay, first off, I think also police should have different jobs like the Army. So okay, if you were 400 pounds, maybe you're the computer guy at the police force or a desk guy or, you know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
right.
I don't think everyone needs to be the fittest human being ever. However, if you're on patrol, get the young 6-foot kids in there, man. You know what I mean? They can handle themselves. They're young. They're bigger than normal, right? This is why a lot of state troopers used to have like a 6'1", 6'2" height requirement, because a 6'2" man can generally handle most people.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Especially a fit one who's trained.
Yeah. So I think the fit guys need to be on the force. I think there's room for everybody, but I think with police is you're a police officer or you're a detective, and then that's it. But really, you're always a cop versus like, well, the Army, right? Okay, there's drone pilots. There's all these Army jobs that kick the infantry kids out the door.
Right.
Why don't police kind of organize like that? And that way, like, the guys that are going to run people down can run.
That's what drives me crazy about this whole defund the police horse shit. Like, are you fucking crazy? You should be funding them more.
Fucking crime is real.
Yeah, it's real. Evil's real.
Evil's fucking real. Yeah.
Yeah, to pretend it's not, well, that just means you haven't experienced it.
Yeah, you're living with blinders on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's just bizarre that we expect these people to encounter danger and evil all day long, their whole lives, like 25, 30 years.
I know.
And, you don't train them properly. You don't fund them properly. And then they get disrespected by the public.
Oh, that's the worst. Well, the worst, I think the worst is when like the mayor or the police fucking chief is like not supportive of all of the fucking guys. And it's like, you think the guys have bad intent? You know what I mean? I get it. There might be bad apples or whatever. Everyone's got 10%. Say what you want, but like...
Well, how about Kamala Harris when she was running for president? She was all about defund the police.
I don't know how that sells with anybody in the country.
It's like 2019, 2020. I mean, it's fucking crazy. It's a crazy thing to say. It really is a crazy thing to say.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if we defunded the police, we'd be Mexico quicker than we thought.
Yeah, right.
Because the cartels will just drive over the border.
Yeah. That's real.
Yeah.
What do you think about this idea of using special forces guys to fight the cartels? This is
first and foremost, like if you were like, yo, we're going to wipe out a cartel tonight, I'd have been like, I'll load my frags extra careful. Like, let's go, right? But the reality is like, I know all my buddies are like, yeah, we'll fuck them up in a night. We'll fucking, fucking let's back up a fucking second here. The cartels have fucking men. They own the ground. They have fucking technicals. They have machine guns. They have fucking everything an army has, right? And they've had decades to train waiting for this. Number two. And number three, our government's fucking compromised. So if you think they ain't going to know you're coming, you know what I mean? I think you're fucking high.
Jesus Christ, that's a terrifying thought. The government's so compromised, the cartel's going to get the word out before.
Well, how are we going to... Look, we're not good at being fucking sneaky. We're not the Israelis doing that fucking pager shit.
That
you know
pager
what I'm saying?
Shit was wild.
Yo, that needs to be the model for every fucking thing we do in the future.
No matter what you think about the Israelis, what's going on in Gaza, that pager shit was wild.
Which tells me America should go back to making its own fucking cell phones and its own... We shouldn't have our fucking comms made overseas at all in any way, shape, or form, in my opinion.
No, I've been saying that forever. We should have our own cell phones.
Fuck.
And the fact that we're buying so much shit from China.
Fuck.
Especially after they banned Huawei because they know that Huawei stuff was compromised and they're having third-party input and be able to spy on people. Yeah. It's fucking crazy.
Well, this is why we got to go back to making America like it used to be. We made our own shit. We use our own shit. We wouldn't have to worry about none of this.
Yeah. It's a very strange thing what's happening in this country where China's allowed to buy land that's near military bases. They supply cell phone towers. They put all these different, they sell us all this different shit. And we don't really know. I mean, I don't know how many experts are investigating these fucking cell phone towers.
Fucking zero, yeah, I bet. Fucking zero.
Mike Baker was on here and he was telling me about how around military bases, like China has installed their equipment in all these military bases. Like at Formula One, where we were, my buddy owns the track and they found these Chinese boxes that they had attached to the Wi-Fi So they were just scooping up everybody's data. They called in Homeland Security to have them remove it and investigate it.
Fucking racetrack.
A racetrack, but they knew everybody was going to be using this public Wi-Fi. Probably no VPNs, probably no security, and these people are getting all their shit siphoned up.
Fuck.
They're so sophisticated in how they've infiltrated. It's fucking crazy.
And we just allow it to happen.
It's very strange because you can't buy shit in China. If you think you're an American company, you're going to go over to China and operate with autonomy, you're out of your fucking mind.
Yeah.
You can't buy shit.
Yeah, they'll never let an American.
Never.
No, they don't want. Chinese would never buy communication devices from America.
No, and they certainly would never let America buy farmland right next to their military bases. They'd be like, fuck you.
Yeah.
We're like, sure, we'll sell it to you. Are you going to pay more?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. We'll take your money.
Fucking.
It's weird. It's weird how goofy we are.
I know. And then I think it's this, Joe. I think people don't realize how fucking dangerous the rest of the world is and how people are plotting against us. And it's fucking real out there. The world is a crazy place. I say this, you don't know how fucking safe you got it here and how fucking great we got it here. You know what I mean?
Right.
People don't know that because they don't never leave here. So they're stuck in their own fucking bad attitude of their own grind or whatever the fuck they do. And look, I'm telling you, the world is fucking evil. People will fucking rape you, kill you. No one gives a fuck. Protect yourself all the time.
Well,
man.
you've been to parts of the world where you've seen this firsthand. And I think it's one of those things where if you don't see it, you don't believe it.
Yeah. I'll tell you I think the biggest thing I saw in Iraq, I think in maybe 2009-ish, there was the most fucking U.S. soldiers ever been in Iraq, right? Whatever the numbers are, I don't fucking know, right? But when Iraq had the most fucking soldiers it has ever had in Iraq is when Iraq was the safest. Think about it. You know what I mean? All we had to do was put a fucking tank under every fucking overpass. In every fucking neighborhood, there's a machine gun and a fucking 50 cal Humvee, right? Who's fucking around? They're everywhere. And that's the safest Iraq ever was. I'm telling you, we have that here, and people don't understand that in general. So if you want to defund the police, fuck, man, we're fucked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a crazy, but...
You know, do you know Evan Hafer?
Yes.
Yeah, Evan was, we were in elk camp, and he was explaining some of the shit that he saw when he went from Iraq to Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And it just, he's like, Afghanistan is so fucked that you can't even comprehend it until you're there.
Yeah.
He goes, once you're there and you see it and you understand it, you become so cynical. You almost this culture is unfixable. And he's like, most people just don't know that a place like that exists. That's so just down to its core, so fucked. And we was talking about how these guys have these boys that they have as their harem.
The number 9 boy.
What's that?
That's what the Egyptian Special Forces called him, the number 9 boy. He's the boy that gets fucked.
Why number 9?
I don't know. That's what the Egyptian Special Forces called. But every Afghanistan village had a fucking, what do they call it, the chogi boy or fucking
something like that. Yeah.
But basically the 12-year-old that gets raped.
And he was saying these guys have harems, and they would parade them down the street to show they have the most boys.
Yeah, this happened to me on my... So I did a solo mission in Afghanistan, the book Kill Bin Laden. You ever hear of it?
Yeah.
I brought a hardback for you.
Oh, nice.
I'll sign it for you if you want.
Sure.
But it's hard to get a hardback. It's got library shit in it. I had to buy it because people always ask me to sign it. I didn't write the book. I'm just in it. And people always ask me for a signature on it, right? So I bought I don't know, a family or friend, someone wanted one. I bought a lot from a library. They didn't use them no more because they don't sell the hardbacks no more. But I went out on a mission alone in Afghanistan. I was gone 10 days. First successful mission of the war. My opinion. I don't know. I don't know if there's other missions that were more successful than mine. But so I went out alone, and then I do the recon. I have the footage I need. I have every fucking thing I need to launch a raid. I'm alone. We stop. I'm in a fucking jingly truck, right? I'm in this truck. I hitchhiked basically from Jalalabad into the Tora Bora Mountains. I'm in a jingly truck with this fucking driver.
What's a jingly truck?
You know where they like, it's like a fucking, like a 6-wheel like dump truck, but like they hang the chains and bells and they paint it like 17 different bright colors and they you never seen a fucking jingly truck because it fucking jingles, man. Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
Yeah. So I'm in one of these motherfuckers with this motherfucker, right? He's like a logger. He runs the valley. He's always in the area. But like, I don't know any of this fucking, I can't even talk to the guy. I don't fucking speak shit. You know what I mean? And then like, it's fucking dangerous. I had to go through checkpoints. I had to act like a retard, to get through a fucking checkpoint.
Like, what did you do?
Man, I was at a fucking checkpoint and the dude was like, there's this fucking, the checkpoints in Afghanistan are fucking sketch. You know, they got like one piece of yarn across the road. You better fucking stop or you will be shot. They don't give a fuck about you. And like, so the car in front of us, I think the fucking, like this dude like stole bread from a little kid. You know what I mean? Little kid was eating a piece of bread. He just snatched it out of the fucking car, yelled at the people. I thought he was going to SHREK him because I didn't have anything to give him that he wanted. Mm-hmm. So I'm in this jingly truck, comes next, fucking AK in the chest, la 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 la. Fuck, I don't know what the fuck he's saying, right? But I know if I speak English, I'm dead. So, not an option. So he's like yelling at me, right? And then finally I just figured I'm gonna do like volume level 12 and just fucking yell in his face, right? So I just get super close to his face, which he didn't like. And I'm like, no. And the guy's like, what the fuck? And then like backed up and then motion like get the fuck through here with the AK.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what, you just on the spot devised that?
Another one, I picked up like a dirty towel or blanket off the floor and they took that, right? But what I learned being out alone, one of the things I learned is, you know, you watch the movies and like they pull out a wad of cash and they're like, wink, get me across the border there, friend. Right. Yo, these motherfuckers will just shoot you in the face and take everything you got. Don't whip that shit out. You're going to get murdered. They're just going to take it all. I mean, they'll steal bread from a fucking kid. You think they give a fuck about your life? You know what I mean? And they just fucking throw you on the side of the road and let you rot. Like, they don't even care about the smell. Like, so like, I had to act like a retard through this one, man. They don't give a fuck, man. They don't give a fuck.
You just figured that out on the spot.
On the spot, yeah. So, I get in the truck, we do the recon. I had a cigarette bag. I think it's like Kent or some shit. I don't fucking smoke, but like Kent cigarettes. I had a plastic bag with my fucking sat phone. And anyway, I had to get a camera out, get it under my arm, and I kind of filmed the house, right? US eyes on. And then I had to get the footage back. So we get to the end of the valley. It's fucking dark. You know, there's no way we can get out of the valley before light. So we stop at this house and the driver's like, you know, motion us in, right? It's the Muslim right of they can't turn you away, right? So we go to this house. We're in the room, bunch of old fucking grumpy men. They don't fucking like me at all. And the driver, I guess, goes there and crashes all the time when he's in the valley, right? So this is normal for him to be here. And then, so in that room, they had like this boy and they fucking drug him into another room and you could hear yelling and shit. And it's just like, what the fuck do you do? I have everything I need to pull off the first successful mission in Afghanistan for the American government. Okay. Do I save this kid and compromise my mission, or do I just get the fuck out of here and pull this motherfucker off? And the reality is I had to look the other way, and I didn't like it, but so I took my speed. You know, they give you speed. I took my speed, stayed up. Everyone went to bed. They fed me dark opium tea. They tried to put me down. That's why I drank the tea anyway, knowing it was spiked. And then I took my speed to kind of counteract it. And then everyone went to bed. I laid there just wide awake. I just laid there wide awake like, I fucking shut an eye. These motherfuckers are going to cut my dick off and stick it in my mouth because that seems like what they like to do. And then finally, the middle of the night, I fucking got my AK. I stuck it in the driver's face. I drug him out to the truck like right before sunup. And we fucking left the valley. But like, you know, compromise the mission or save the kid. What do you want? What's it gonna be, man? And then like you just see this all over the place.
So you were like one of the first guys to do these Singleton missions.
Yeah.
So when they set you off to do something like that, like what's the protocol? Like how do they even
Good luck. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, what do you think?
What do they say to you?
Well, back then it was that guy Dalton Fury, right? The guy who wrote Kill Bin Laden was my commander. And okay, it's a long story. I'm writing a book. It's finished. Maybe someone would want to publish it, but it's called The Singleton, and it's about my going out alone. But I was like, I was at my base. I was in Asadabad. And we were just getting rocketed and mortared every day. It's kind of like mortar bait, whatever. And then we had like fucking zero lickies and chewies. No fucking candy, no beef jerky, no fucking Pop-Tarts, no fucking nothing, right? And we're just sucking it up. And like, I got to eat fucking these Afghan motherfuckers cook us food. And like, I'm eating vegetables. I don't even know what the fuck that vegetable was. I don't even recognize it as a vegetable. You know what I mean? Yeah, I know that's fucking goat because it tastes horrible, but I don't know what I don't even know what the fuck they cook me. You know what I mean? It's like, anyway. So I go to my boss and I'm like, yo, hey, I want to fucking go to the main base, right, and steal pogy from the fucking chow hall.
What's pogy?
Pogy bait is a term for like beef jerky, snacks, candy, cookies, like any kind of like snack food, right? So, and my boss is like, yeah, if you schedule the airplanes, you make all the coordinations, you can go. I was like, fucking bet, man. I fucking scheduled the helicopter. Like, motherfuckers, you don't know how resourceful I can be. You know what I mean? So I scheduled everything for the next night. And then, like, I had a red Toyota truck. I drove my Toyota truck in the back of the Chinook, right? So tight in there, you can't even get out. You got to just sit there, hope you ain't got to piss. They fly me to the main base, fucking land, drive in the main base. Like, by this time, like, the Army's, like, taken over where like you gotta like fucking salute on fucking the army base in Afghanistan like 2 weeks ago, like a fucking SAS guy lost a leg in a landmine, you know? But so I go to the base and then the commander sees me and he's with his sergeant major, another guy, and they're like, this is our fucking guy right here. So they're like, hey, what are you doing? And I'm like, about to raid the chow hall, you know? Like, what the fuck does it look like I'm doing? You know what I mean? Like, if it's one thing, I'm honest, right? So I was like, yeah, I'm getting pokey for our base. Like, what's up? And they're like, hey, we got a mission for you. And I told them, hey, I'll do it, right? But you just got to ask my boss if it's all right, because I didn't work for these guys. And they're like, okay, cool. They're in my squadron, but like not my direct boss, right? So they call my boss. My boss says fine, and like they sit me in this room, and they're like, "Hey, we want you to go out alone." And I'm like, "Okay." And they're like, explain everything to me. We want you to go out alone. Like, do you have any questions? And I was like, my only question was, and it wasn't a question. I looked the commander in the eye and I said, "Tell me you're going to cover my ass if something goes wrong." And he was like, "Oh yeah, we'll cover you." Like, yo, you could have gave a fucking better man up with that answer. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? He gives this like weak answer, and I'm just thinking, well, fuck, man. You know what I mean? Now,
so what were they telling you they wanted you to do?
Go out alone, US eyes on, get footage of this guy at his house so we could launch, right? Because the generals back then weren't in line with Bush's dead or alive, and they were, I believe the Pentagon was a bigger hindrance in the beginning of the war than they were worth. But
how so?
Well, the general at the time that was in charge of us, our task force, right, and we're talking about tier 1, like the guy in charge then had like 2 rules. Number 1, you can leave the wire if you get US eyes on a target. Okay?
Okay.
And number 2, no one leaves the wire. Well, how the fuck are we going to do number 1 if we can't leave? Figure it out. So the commander, because I was...
When you say leave the wire,
yeah,
what do you mean exactly?
Like go out hunting for bad guys. Leave your base. You know what I'm saying? Go out in combat.
But you can't leave your base.
But you can leave the base. But you got to get these eyes on to launch a target. So you got to get your recon guys out there doing reconnaissance because we need these reconnaissance and US eyes on to hit these targets. Okay, we want to launch reconnaissance. Yeah, no one leaves the wire. That's kind of how it worked, man, right? So the reason they used me is according to the Army at every level is great at accountability. 100%, we need to know where everyone is at all times, right? So when I flew to the other base, I was in transit, right? So they left me in transit for a week. So instead of saying I left the wire, I was just in transit because I was in transit anyway to go get Pop-Tarts.
Wow.
So they lied to everybody, left me, my stat, and I didn't know this at the time. I like this could have mattered less to me. I learned later, but they paperwork nutshelled the general and sent out reconnaissance, and that was me.
Wow.
And then they came back with the eyes on, and the general agreed to launch the mission, and it was a success, and no one asked, how the fuck did someone leave the wire? Because no one cared because we were successful. You know what I mean?
Wow. So what are you thinking when you're out there doing this? Like what is going through your head when you agree to do this?
Fuck. Figure it the fuck out. I don't fucking know. I'm not trying to have anything in my head right now.
But that's what's crazy is like they just let you figure it out.
Yeah.
So you have to feel very vulnerable.
I don't know. I wouldn't say vulnerable, Joe, but I do think this is like there's guys that like fucking make it happen. You probably got guys like this. Any task you give a guy, he's just like, wait, you're done with that already? Like,
some people could just make shit happen.
And then I'm one of those guys. That's like one of my better qualities. Make it happen. So like, fucking go make it happen, motherfucker.
Go act like a retard when you get pulled over.
Hey, man, do what you got to do, baby. Like fucking survival of the fittest.
So the problem is, once you do one of these, now you're the guy that can go do these things.
Yeah, and I did hundreds in Iraq and fucking loved it.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
You loved it.
Loved it.
You're such
Loved
a
being
psycho.
alone, man.
I love it.
Fuck that. Yo, you okay, think about this, Joe. And you do jiu-jitsu and you fight, right? You want to depend on yourself, or you want to depend on yourself and people you don't know what the fuck they're made of. Who the fuck are you going to trust?
You're going to trust yourself.
Right? So it wasn't really a big stretch for me to be alone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do, but it's still a very unusual mindset.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. And then my other mindset is like, no matter where I am, no matter what I do, everyone in a 25-yard radius is going to fucking die just so I can make it home. And if I had to kill everyone in the whole village, goddamn right, everyone in that fucking village would be dead for me to come home. So I just figured, fucking be ready to fight at all times. I learned 100-to-1 lessons learned, leadership lessons, 100-to-1 being alone versus being a pack of 30 motherfuckers.
Right.
Like, let us come ram this down your fucking throat and we'll call it Tuesday. You know what I mean?
Right.
And where when I was alone, like, you got to make better decisions. You're a fucking coyote. You're a ghost. You got to make ghost decisions. The fucking, the bravado, like we're going to kill everybody. The fuck we are. We're not going to fire a shot. Why? Because like you fire one shot as a singleton, you better be ready to kill everybody because gunshots is a fucking dinner bell for psychos. You know what I mean?
Right.
So are you ready? You know what I mean? And the reality is like I had to think of other shit, do other shit, I had to act like a retard, and then I had to get along with people. I had to do so much shit that is out of like even the commando norm as a singleton, I think
there's
about,
no one that can really teach you this.
Fuck, I mean, no, like
Right?
fuck,
Like
I
you
mean, I
can
don't
teach a
fucking
guy
know.
how to breach an airplane.
Right.
How the fuck are you going to teach a guy to act like a retard if you get pulled over? How are you going to teach a guy to be a singleton and do hundreds of these missions?
Well, we used to tell guys, and I used to tell my guys all the time, and this is a unit thing, but like I could train a monkey to shoot. I'm training you to think. I don't care about the shooting because if you're thinking right, the shooting will be easy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I'll tell you, I thought about writing a leadership book, calling it the Singleton, and just kind of the lessons I learned, like so few guys have done that, like I see all these like, I don't know. I don't look at the internet. I don't watch the news. I don't do any of that. I don't do social media. I have it. I don't fucking look at it. I don't have it on my phone. It's not worth my sanity. So I'm like a fucking time capsule for fucking the 2000s, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, I never understood some of these other like veteran stories, I never kind of, like the lone survivor, I never understood the full story because I went out alone all the time. That shit didn't happen to me. Motherfucking 7 Taliban on my ass. You want to see 7 fucking bodies super quick? You know what I'm saying? Bring them boys up here, So I never really fucking understood some of these other stories because I had such a different experience. I can't fathom if I was with 5, the times I was with 5 guys, how many people, I was with 3 guys, how many people we killed in the Battle of Tora Bora? Fucking hundreds. I just stopped counting on my first day. So having said that, I don't understand some of these stories because I had the experience I had. You know what I'm saying?
It's a very unusual experience. So, how many guys were singletons?
Fuck, I don't know any.
You don't know any?
I mean, a couple of my buddies, but not like me.
Wow.
Yeah, and then once I did it, it was kind of my lot in life.
How many pages is this book that you wrote?
I don't know, fucking 20 chapters. I wrote a big book.
It seems like it'd have to be
I wrote a big
500
book.
fucking pages.
Yeah. So
I can't wait to read that book.
Shameless plug if you know anybody who
listen,
buys books.
someone needs to buy that book, 100%.
Yeah.
We'll get that book sold.
All right.
We'll get that book sold,
So,
100%.
So that leads me...
I need to read that book right now.
I'll give it to you. I'll text it to you.
Okay.
I'll text it to you
read
today.
it.
For real. I'll text it to you. I'm done with it.
Okay. No,
I think it's as good as I could get it. And I'm just I'm in a Chicago public school system. Fuck, I didn't even take a book home because if the school loses the books, they can't teach. So it was like half my class was in the book and the other half was homework and you left the books in class. So I didn't have homework.
Well, it's probably better because you're going to get it from you with no gloss.
Yeah.
No bullshit.
But which leads me to Iraq where I did hundreds of solo missions. I was a taxi driver. I had I don't know, fucking 30, 50 vehicles in Iraq.
So once they realize you can do this, call McPhee.
Yeah. Well, no, it's just kind of my thing. You don't have to call me, just tell me what you need.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, my bosses knew how to use me like that.
So you started enjoying the craziness of it.
I loved being alone.
Why did you love it so much?
I don't know. I hate to say this, but guys like me are generally fucking assholes. You've met a few guys like me, and they're like, yeah, I was afraid someone would get away. Shut the fuck up, man. God damn it. You know what I mean? So not really a fan of a lot of alpha males. They can be dicks at times. Mm-hmm. So it kind of set me down my path as I just stayed away from the dicks and did my own thing. You know what I mean?
Right. So you just had your mission, and you enjoyed the fact that it was all up to you.
And I didn't have to fuck with no one else. It's on my timeline, fucking, and I will make this happen. I will make shit happen that other people can't. I don't know how, I don't know why, but I just will.
That is such a wild experience. Your experience in war must be so different than everybody else's just because of that.
Yeah. So, having said that, we're talking about Iraq. I brought some show and tell items.
What'd you bring?
I brought something I have never fucking shown before.
What do you got?
And I believe it's fucking evil. You want to see it?
Yeah, I do. What is it?
I got to get it out of my box.
Oh, you got a box.
I brought a box.
I'm kind of scared. What's that?
Hey, can you Google Saddam Hussein Mauser?
This is his hat?
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's the one where he shoots the Mauser in the air at the fucking parade grounds. I was given that by his tailor.
Wow.
Yeah, that one. The liner fell out. The liner's in here. Look, it's you can see what kind of hat it is. The glue fell out of the liner, but look.
Whoa. That's fucking crazy.
I rolled up his tailor. and all his butlers. Anybody who touched his ass, fed him, or touched his dick, I fucking rolled them motherfuckers up.
Wow.
Saddam was captured 9 days after I left. I had to leave for Christmas.
This is crazy. This was on his head. Now it's here.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But it's a Piccadilly fox fur hat. I also have a sweater. I had all his clothes. Like, man, fuck, I had everything that guy had. Yeah, his tailor. Okay, so Saddam's inner circle, right? When I was working Saddam, we were working a Saddam piece, right? Some fucking legendary hits that no one's ever fucking talked about. Like, we did the cleverest shit fucking during Saddam. And I will tell you this, is I learned on my fucking Singleton mission in Afghanistan, the first one, we need to be a lot fucking smarter if we want to crush these motherfuckers. And I'm not talking like we captured 2 bad guys. I'm talking we go in, kill everyone needs to be killed, capture everyone that needs to be captured, and fucking do this right? So, yeah, with the Saddam piece, right, his tailor and his butlers and Saddam's inner circle was all Christians. Fucking every one of them was a Christian. And Saddam believed that Christians, if they martyr themselves, go to hell. Muslims martyr themselves, you go to heaven.
Right.
So he surrounded himself with fucking Christians. So his tailor, his butlers, his jawalas, all those guys, they're fucking washing his ass, feeding this motherfucker, were all Christians. And it's why Christians flourished in Iraq, which they're, you know, like, I'd hope all these guys are still alive, but the reality is like ISIS probably fucking got rid of them after Saddam was gone, you know?
Yeah.
ISIS killed so many fucking Christians, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they were all Christians. And so his, it started with the ex-ambassador, to the U.S., and then I met the tailor and started talking to the tailor. And then one day he brought this hat and he brought some clothes. And I was like, what was this? And he was like, you know, he told me this is the one where he shot the Mauser. And he had some clothes. I grabbed a sweater. I wear the sweater on Christmas Eve. And then hey, when I was fatter, it's like a fucking halter top. My belly fat's hanging out. You know, my family's like, I don't know. They think I'm nuts, but I normally wear that sweater on Christmas. I forgot to bring it, or I'd have brought it. But
wow.
Yeah, now that I lost weight, I think I'm actually Saddam's size. You know what I'm saying? It's spooky. You know what I'm saying? I end up being the same size. I could have wore all those clothes. You know what I mean?
Wow.
But yeah, they were Christians, right? And we rolled up the tailor. The tailor gave up a butler. Like me and another guy were at the tailor's house. Right, and we were going to snatch this guy, right, this butler, and the butler is the guy who used to wash Saddam. Like, he bathed Saddam every fucking day.
So Saddam had someone bathe him.
Yeah.
He didn't bathe himself.
No. Crazy, right?
Yeah, weird.
But he had a lot of, but they were all Christians, and they were all fucking nice people, to be fair. Like, all the Christians were great people. Anyway, yeah, so I'm in the house with another guy, and the guy's early. So we fucking shoot up on the roof. The guy comes. I call my guys. They're not really in place yet. So he comes. He leaves. He only stays a minute. And he's gone, you know what I mean? And I think all these inner circle Saddam folks know they were valuable to us. And like they realized they were going to get snatched at some time. So he was out, right? I called my guys, right? And then literally my guys were like 2 blocks away. As he was leaving, he ran into their Humvee. He ran into my guys. And they're like, hey, this guy just ran into us in like this vehicle. I'm like, that's the dude.
So he got in an accident with
Yeah,
them?
he ran into our guys in a Humvee. He was trying to drive away and crashed into like the guys that were going to snatch him.
Wow.
Yeah. I'll tell you another Saddam story. This is one of my favorites. Saddam had like regular pieces of ass. And like his favorite piece of ass was this butterface lady. I don't know what she did for him, but she wasn't a looker. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like, look and feel are different things. Saddam knew what felt right to him, obviously. And she was married, and we wanted to get to her. I mean, maybe Saddam's favorite sex partner wouldn't know where he is, right?
Right.
Like, so we have the tailor. The tailor knows who he is. So we have the tailor kind of invite him to the tailor shop. This tailor had a store in downtown Baghdad. So he comes in the store, and I told my guys if he doesn't come out quick to, I had a couple, I don't know what they're called now, Mohawks, I think is what they call the Iraqi counter-terror guys. Well, before they were even established, like the guys were with us, you know. So we had a couple of those guys. And I have them start fighting in front of the store, right? So literally everyone piles out on the street to see these guys fighting, right? Like everyone piles out of all the shops, stores, and everyone's watching these two guys fight. Literally, the guy we're looking for like walks up to see the fight, and his back is to the van door of the guys that are going to snatch him.
Wow.
So I call him. I'm like, yo, you see that tall guy? That's our guy. Fucking snatch him. And no shit, van door fucking opens. Nobody even knew where the fucking guy went. The tailor later was like, where did he go? Who took him? Where did this guy go? Where is this man at? You know what I mean? Like, no one even seen him get snatched, right?
That's such a clever idea.
Yeah.
Have two guys fight in
Yeah.
front, so
Yeah.
everybody's going to come
And
out
then later,
watch it.
my boss was like, who are those guys fighting? I was like, it's our boys. And he was like, wait, did you do that? And I was like, well, I didn't want to be there for like 6 hours. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how do we speed this up? We got shit to do today. Like, you know what I mean? That's my efficiency is my
genius.
thing. Like,
That's genius.
yeah, that's one of the, and we did so much. Hey, all right, I'll tell you another one. My first Saddam hit, I worked a lot of intel side for Saddam, me and a couple other guys. So we worked somewhere not with our squadron, and we worked with another government agency. Make sense?
Yeah.
So we get the call, the squadron's doing a hit. There's a Saddam sighting, right? So this is like the beginning, like 2003 Iraq. We were fucking Ken blocking it with fucking maps, like hit the third traffic circle, go out on the 9 o'clock. Like literally, I get us to fucking Ken blocking, fucking navigating through a fucking shitty Baghdad fucking street map. I get us to the fucking target, right? Humvees are already there. The rest of the guys are already there. Rangers got the blocking positions all set up. So we get there, we raid the house, right? We get all these guys. And then finally, there was like no fucking shit, Joe. There was like, I don't know, 15 motherfuckers. It was like a Saddam lookalike fucking contest. They all had the mustache. There's like short, fat Saddams. There's like tall, skinny Saddams. So it's
you had
like,
body doubles.
well, I don't know if it was body doubles.
They just
but
all looked like.
yeah, because like the Saddam look was popular. The
Right.
mustache. And
Yeah.
I mean, not that they all look the same, but they kind of all look the same, you know,
Right,
from
right.
my perspective at the time, right? So like, it was like, well, no wonder someone called this in. It's fucking like, they all look like Saddam, you know what I mean?
Right,
Like, and then on the outside, like, fuck, man, the Rangers shot up these vehicles at the blocking position. I have my squad, my sergeant major was like, hey, go fucking clean up the bodies. And I'm like, why the fuck am I on brains detail? I didn't fucking shoot nobody today. And he's like, you're the only one with a regular pickup truck that could haul the bodies. Oof. And I'm like, fucker, already thought it through. This is why this guy's the boss. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and then a lesson learned that day is, you know, like in Iraq, you just drink water out of bottles and then throw them in your truck. Man, we were loading bodies in. There's fucking 100 water bottles in the back of the bed. Someone would just come by the bed of the truck and throw an empty water bottle in, like at the house or whatever, right? And like, I'm throwing bodies and fucking shit in the back of my truck, and there's like bloody water bottles squirting everywhere. It's a fucking mess, man. So I learned that day, like, my vehicles are always clean. Always fucking clean, man. from that day on, but like is a fucking mess. And then, man, they shot up this old man, this old lady. Like they ran the checkpoint. They were about to hit the Humvee with the Rangers. So the kid shot at the driver, but like the Rangers back then didn't know as much as Rangers know now. You know what I'm saying? And the kid like shot the warning shots at the driver, but he hit the brakes. And the fucking vehicle will never stop if you shoot the brakes. I don't know if you know that, but and it fucking hit the Humvee at like fucking 40 miles an hour, broke the transmission. I had to clean up the bodies. I had to set up an HLZ, take them later to the HLZ. You know what I mean? And then it was like my first Saddam raid in Iraq, and it was my first experience in Iraq with the Rangers. And like that day I was fucking fed up with them, you know, like there's some young fucking 18-year-old kid medic in the back of the truck, and like I'm like, hey, fucking give these people morphine. He's like, I'm not supposed to give the enemy morphine, Sergeant. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, does anyone look like a fucking enemy to you here? Anyone fighting you in the back of the truck? Then there is no fucking enemies here, bud. Fucking give these people some drugs, so like at least we ain't gotta fucking hear them moan and shit. You know what I mean? And like the kid, like I had to force him to like fucking be humane. You know what I mean? And because he was just trying to follow orders. Later they'd be so much better, right? But beginning of the war, like that was my first Saddam hit. You know what I mean? And I was just thinking, fucking this is gonna be awesome, man. That kid was shooting down the street with the 50 cal, like. Imagine just a fucking city street in Austin, right? And you're parked in the middle of the road and you just shoot with a 50 cal off the top of a Humvee, you know, like 8 feet off the ground. Dude, those tracer rounds would skip down the road. It was breaking glass, fucking going through cars, fucking, 500 yards down the road. Like people scattered. Like, it's amazing. You know what I mean? 50 cal is amazing. You know what I mean? And then I had to fucking pick up guts, but.
Well, this is the fucked up thing about it is like, you went through all this chaos. You're uniquely qualified for chaos for some strange reason.
Love chaos is my jam, man. As soon as this gets confusing, I got this. You know what I mean?
But why is that?
I don't fucking know. It seems to be what I do
like
best.
That?
Yeah, I think so.
Is that something that like you accumulated this mindset over time?
Know.
Or did you just always have it?
I think it was beat into me.
Really?
Yeah, like think about it. When I was a kid, the house was chaotic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You learn the chaos.
Right. And then it's just you're designed for that. Break glass in case of war.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess so. I don't know. I think I'm a normal guy, but like people tell me I'm not.
It's not normal.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand you. I understand you. It's not normal, but I understand you.
Yeah. I mean, like, look, I just feel like, okay, we're all going to die. I'm not going to let it ruin my day. I've been through bad shit. I'm not the fucking victim. I've done bad shit. I'm not the fucking bad guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then having said that, it's like, I don't know, man. I think it affects everybody differently, but I think, before I retired, I was burned out. I didn't know I was burned out. I was an asshole every day. Fucking, I was, I just fucking guys that come into my office. What do you want? Yeah, too slow. Get the fuck out. When you know what you want, come back. The guy be like, okay, sorry, Major.
Well, you were operating at 10.
Always. Yeah, and then I learned, man, like I was having I fucking hated my life. I was miserable. I hated being a sergeant major. I hated being Army management is what I called it. I'm not a leader. I'm not a follower. I'm not a soldier. I'm fucking Army management, and that shit is fucking dry fucking toast. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I just got out of fucking Baghdad in 06 fucking killing people. Like 06 was a great year, And then I got to sit on the fucking staff and do this shit. Like, it's just fucking killing me, Joe. And then... So, like, I wasn't a very good sergeant major. So I realized one day, like, man, I think I used to be funny. Like, like when I was a kid, like, I'd catch that beating. If I could say that one fucking smart-ass comment to you, I might get beat more, but I fucking said my piece. You know what I mean? Even as a little kid, I'll take the beating to fucking call you an asshole. Like, so, like, I kind of maybe had that mindset going into it or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but... Yeah, man. I just think I think a lot of it just goes back to my childhood and being able to manage the chaos. 1 minute we're fighting, the next minute, someone's at the front door. Go answer.
The crazy thing about it is that, if you're running any branch of the military and you're asking a lot of people to find someone like you, that you can find someone who doesn't just accept this but thrives on it. That's try recreating that in a lab.
Fuck.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't know.
How do you make that? You can't.
I don't know. I've only seen I don't know. In my experience of all the guys I know and all the combat I've seen, I'd say there's we're not the common guys.
How many
you know
guys?
what I mean? Maybe a dozen in my life.
You guys on a group chat?
Fuck no. Fuck no. You don't talk to nobody. You know what I mean? You'll
Right.
never know who they are.
Right.
They ain't fucking talking to you, me,
Right.
fucking nobody. You know what I
Right.
mean? And some, of the, I maybe know a dozen of those guys. 8 probably still work for the dark side of the government as old men, wherever that is.
Yeah.
And the other guys are raising families and don't want you fucking with them.
Right.
You know what I mean? They don't do shit like this.
Yeah.
Guys like me don't do shit like this.
But the thing about it is, if you didn't talk about it, people wouldn't know.
Right.
I think it's great that you talk about it. I think it's important. I think people need to, we're trying to fill in an understanding of the world. And until you've talked to someone who's experienced a part of the world in a way that no one else has, you don't know that that's a thing.
Right.
The fact that you can come and talk about this is a very good thing for everybody.
Thank you.
Because people will be able to see, okay, this is super complicated. The whole thing was super complicated. And to have a guy that could talk about navigating probably the most complicated aspect of this super complicated thing and to actually thrive in it is very strange.
Thank you. I still think I'm normal, Joe.
Yeah,
I think I'm a regular guy.
You're
so.
definitely not normal, but like I said, I understand you.
Oh, thanks, man.
I get it.
But yeah, man. And look, I got some more items. You want to see something else I've never showed off? So I talk about stories in some of my videos about being a taxi driver. I also had another vehicle that was an Uday Kusei secret police vehicle. So when I drive this vehicle downtown, the fucking sea would part. The road could be packed. And I'm driving my vehicle and people just move.
What kind of vehicle was it?
It was like a Maxima, a Nissan Maxima, but it's what the Uday secret police drove. You know what I'm saying? And then they carried these, and I'll show you. Check this out.
Whoa.
So the lion is the Babylon lion, and that's the symbol of the Republican Guard. But I used to carry that as a taxi driver, and when I get out of the taxi, people would see that fucking gun and just fucking walk away.
Wow.
And that's what the Republican Guard rock, those silver guns. I say it's a pearl handle, but it's like plastic.
Yeah, it's plastic.
Yeah, there's nothing fancy about it.
But specific to them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's say on there.
Yeah, I had a guy make it for me.
Elk Rivel tool handle.
Yeah.
Bozeman, Montana.
There's only so many guys that'll do AKs.
Right.
You know what I mean? You want a silver AK? What are you, the cartel? No, get the fuck out of here. You're not serious about guns. You know how many fucking no's I had to collect up? Anyway, but that's my Republican Guard. That's my taxi driver gun.
So you
man.
had that made specifically because you knew that they carried that?
No, I captured that on the battlefield and carried it in Iraq.
So that is one. But why does it say Bozeman, Montana?
Okay. So if you bring one home, you get fired. But what I did is I took the handguard and the pistol grip, and then I had a guy make a copy of what I had. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's legal and everything, but
So the handguard and the pistol grip is from the original gun.
right. But that's exactly what the original gun looked like. Because I didn't want look when you're in the defo, you want to get fired for bringing back an AK,
Right.
fucking, you know what I mean?
Right.
dumb. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it's not worth the risk, right? But like, it's like, hey, can I bring this handguard back? Like, the fuck you want that garbage for? That's a yes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it took me a while to get, but yeah, that guy built it for me.
Wow.
Just got it. Kind of matches the hat. Everybody I know likes to take a picture with that and the hat. So it's kind of popular. But yeah, the hat's been in Texas here for a very long time. Been stored in Texas. Got it documented about as much as possible as
There's
I
gotta be
can.
some fucking nightmares in
I
that
don't know.
hat.
Hey, you know anybody that might want it?
What, you were selling it?
Yeah.
I bet somebody
Hey,
would want that. Yeah.
I don't want it.
Yeah, I don't
And
want
if
to
someone-
keep that in my house.
No, fuck no, Joe. Why do you think I keep it in a black fucking box, man? Like,
yeah.
Yeah, I don't want it. But I know there is people out there that would treat it better than me. Like, I mean, I crammed it in a box.
Yeah, well,
And the guy that stored it for me put it in glass. You know what I mean? Like, he
Yeah.
kind of knew what he was doing. Actually, I had it stuffed in a bag.
you know what that would be good for? Zach Bagan's Haunted Museum in Vegas. Have you ever
Do you
been to
know
that?
Zach? No.
Yeah,
I hear
yeah.
that place is fucking creepy.
It's creepy.
My brother said it was
It's
fucking
fucking
creepy.
creepy.
And my
Like,
brother
legit
likes creepy shit, and he was freaked out.
Oh, he's got everything in that
I
place.
know.
He's got Kevorkian's van
I
where he killed all
know.
those people.
Hey,
in.
he's got the Camaro from fucking the Waco. What's Koresh?
Does he?
And like the
I
cereal.
don't think so.
I thought he bought
No,
the
I was gonna
Camaro
buy
from
that
Koresh.
Camaro.
You were gonna
No,
buy?
yeah, that
Wasn't the
Camaro was
serial
for
number
sale.
like I am God or something?
Was it?
Wasn't it the serial number?
It's a 68 Camaro, and it was for sale. And I came that close to pulling the trigger on it. But I was like, I don't want that fucking bad juju in my life. That's it. 68 Camaro from Deadly Siege. Zach Bagans. Oh, he does have. So he bought it. So Zach bought it.
yeah.
He's the one selling it, I think.
Oh, he's selling it now, so he got it.
Yeah, this is
It was
from-
for sale.
23. This was from a year.
No, it was for sale quite a while ago, and I was gonna buy it.
Holy
somebody
shit.
emailed me and told me that they know I love old muscle cars, and they said Koresh's Camaro's for sale. I was like, ooh, and I went like this, let me buy it. Then I was like, no, the fuck am I gonna do with this?
Yeah, I'd rather buy one that has no history.
Yeah, I have a '69.
Yeah.
I love them. I love old muscle cars, so I was thinking about it, but I was like, no. You don't want that in your life. You don't want that.
I had a
fucking thing in your life.
'67 Camaro when I was a kid.
Look at the title, David Koresh, Waco, Texas.
What's
Jesus Christ.
Does the serial number say I am God or something?
No, it seems normal. Look at the VIN number. It's normal. It's a normal
Yeah.
VIN number. Fucking crazy asshole.
Yeah.
That guy, when you went to the mothership last night,
Yeah.
I was going to buy another building before that was run by a cult. And they moved out here. It was called, I forget what was the name? The Bodhi Tree? Is that what it's called? Anyway, there's a documentary on it. It's called Holy Hell. So this guy, he was a yoga teacher in West Hollywood. And he was a gay porn star and a hypnotist. So this fucking guy.
He got a lot of ass.
So the Bodhi Field, that's it. Thank you. So Waco goes off, right? And then the Cult Awareness Network starts investigating him. And he's running this cult in West Hollywood. So he escapes in the middle of the night and drives out to Texas, moves to Austin, tells everybody, come here. And they all move out to Austin, and then he has them build this place. It's called the One World Theater. And all the cult members ran this place for years until they figured out that this guy was fucking everybody. One guy sends out a mass email, say, hey, this guy's been hypnotizing me and butt fucking me for the last 10 years. And everybody's like, me too. And so then they all find out that he's fucking everybody, this guy. So they all leave. The cult falls apart. The building's for sale. So I swoop in. When I move here, the building's for sale. Ron White tells me about the building being for sale. He's like, this building's fucking awesome. I performed there. You should buy it. So Ron White's my hero. So I'm like, I'll buy it. Fuck it.
Yeah.
I need we're going to open up a comedy club. Let's open it up in this place. All sorts of problems with the building, code, this, that, a lot of environmental, a lot of shit. So I get out of it. But I bought the building before I watched the documentary. So I watched the documentary, and I'm like, oh, no. Same thing. It's like these fucking people, all the lives lost. They lived 20 years. These poor people wasted 20 years of their life following this fucking asshole, and he's got this building. But the reason why he bought the building was because of Waco. So when Waco pops off, they were like, oh, geez, these cults are fucking dangerous. So the Cult Awareness Network starts going after everybody. So this guy moves here and changes his name. So because, like, back then, you could kind of change, no internet.
You could do that.
You could kind of change your name and know, oh, it's a different guy. And so he has all his followers build him this theater. So for a brief period of time, I was under contract for that theater.
Did you go in their building?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Was it creepy in there?
It was a little weird. This guy would he had this theater, this beautiful theater. He had it built so he could dance in front of his followers, so he could perform in front of his followers. He was a weird cat. He was like a really handsome guy when he was younger, but then as he got older, he started getting plastic surgery. He looked real weird, and he would be thinking about getting something done, so he'd force one of his followers to go get it done. And so they'd get it done. They'd come back with their fucking cheeks. So they'd be like, I kind of like that. And then he would go and get the surgery done. At the end of the documentary, he looks really fucking weird because he's got like Botox and cheeking all weird shit to his face. Yeah, but the feeling in the building was just like of loss. That's what it felt like, loss. Just oh no.
Yeah.
You know, like you don't want to buy a house from some people that they went bankrupt and they lost everything and their family fell apart. And then you're in the house like, ooh, this house feels like sadness.
Yeah.
I felt like we could burn some sage and fucking party in there for a few days. We'll clean it up.
Get some good energy
but
in.
Now I'm glad that didn't happen. I'm glad.
Why even go through that?
Yeah. Well, it was kind of funny at first. I thought it was funny. Until I found, a cult owned it. Oh, this is funny. And then my buddy Adam called me up because, hey, you watched a documentary on that cult? I was like, oh, no.
There's a documentary.
That's never good.
Yeah.
They don't make documentaries about the good cults.
No.
And it was it was horrible. At the end of the documentary, like, you're tearing up. You're like, oh, these poor fucking people. Because there's so many people. Some people are just gullible, and they're not bad people. They just want someone better than them to tell them how to live life.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
They need something.
Yeah.
They need
something. They're missing something, whatever it is, something went wrong, and they're willing to believe a lot of really ridiculous shit. And then 20 years later, they realize they wasted their life.
People do a lot of weird shit, call it religion.
Mm-hmm.
You know
exactly.
what I mean?
Yeah. And that was this place.
Yeah.
But that was because of Waco, that this guy built this thing.
Yeah. Damn.
The Waco thing's fucked. You ever watched the raid?
I know. Yeah. I mean, the raid kind of like, we got the briefings back in the day. Like, the raid was a couple years old, but
yeah.
I know about the raid.
It was pretty fucked. I mean, they just cooked those people.
Yeah. They burned it down.
Oh, yeah. I can see the tanks like shooting fire into the buildings. And they're like, I don't know what happened. Caught fire.
Yeah. Fire.
It was back in the 90s when you could kind of get away with something like that, and people didn't really know.
Yeah. Yeah, like, well, we didn't know it would burn. Well, it is made of wood. Like, yeah, but, I mean...
And we shot fire at it. I mean, I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. All right, you ready? I got some other stuff.
What else you got?
So check this out. I got a swag bag for you.
Okay.
I got a bunch of stuff I make that I do, right? So I just kind of want to... I like to do this, right? Look, I got you the SOB hat. This is the best hat we sell right here. It's the one I wear this on the range every day.
Okay.
I got your same T-shirt as me, Team SOB shirt, right? Well, welcome to the team, Joe.
Thank you.
We're glad to have you. One of my second favorite shirt of all times is this, and I wear this every day when I elk hunt.
Do you really?
Yeah. Oh, wait. Oh, no. This is the wrong one. I got a shirt. I sell these shirts. They're called Slaughter Things, and it's all I wear in elk camp. You know what I mean? But look, we got you a Shut Up Hippie shirt. I sell a ton of these. Like, I wear these
what are
normally.
Are they knives?
They're bullets.
Bullets.
Bullets. Got you a Shut Up Hippie shirt. When I go to California and teach California classes, I wear a Shut Up Hippie shirt all the time. And then tons of guys buy them. I had a guy, he comes to my classes. He's a younger kid. He's tall, got a young family, right? They go to, I think, Asheville, North Carolina, and they're eating at like some destination. Like, you got to go eat here, and it's a bus. So he's a big guy, right? And he's in this like school bus, and it's where you got to orders in this old school bus. So he said, like, my shoulders are almost touching the ceiling, and he had to put his head down, and he had a Shut Up Hippie shirt on behind him. And some hippie behind him was like, you better be careful wearing that shirt. You'll get your ass kicked around here, right? Hey, and he says he looks back, and he pulled up his shirt, and he said, better make it a gunfight. and they shut the fuck up.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, well, North
You're
Carolina.
gonna get your ass kicked. That's so funny.
By hippies.
That's so funny.
Okay.
That's the most gentle ass kicking of all time.
Yeah, thank you for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, I got your condom holster. I make these 365. It's your EDC.
Yeah, you make these out of leather, right?
Yeah, they're made out of leather.
I saw this on Sean's show.
Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah, it's all I use. It's all I wear. It is the most comfortable holster. Here, and that's all this stuff for
thank
you.
you.
I'll give you the
Thank you.
bag too. Also.
Oh, I got a bag.
Okay, so check this out. Here's another thing I use all the time. The cooling schmog. So basically,
okay. I saw this too.
you know what the schmogs, right?
Yeah.
Basically, I made a cooling towel the size of a schmog.
Okay.
So like when I'm on the range, literally, I just dump a bottle of water in my neck. The fucking thing absorbs it.
What's
like,
it made out of?
It's the cooling material, like the cooling towel
okay.
material,
Right.
But the problem with most cooling towels is they're not big enough. So it's like one layer on your neck and it dries in like 2 minutes. This you could kind of double it up, pour water on it. It'll
What
stay
is
cool
that
for a
cool?
long
Because
time.
I've seen people they're making gear and clothes out of
Yeah.
like this cooling material. What is
Yeah.
it? What is it?
I don't know. I think it's like the way it's woven to where when the water drains out of it, it cools quicker.
Right.
And it's materials that cool quicker or feel cool to the touch.
Yeah.
Kind of deal without knowing what it is.
I've heard like people talk about clothes that they
Yeah.
make out of this. They're like it's really legit. Like for whatever reason, it like keeps you cooler.
I would wear T-shirts on the range made of that shit every fucking day I'm outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Especially in the heat, you know what I mean? Okay, so check it out. I got you a couple slings. I don't know if you have rifles, but
Okay.
100%
Nice.
made in America. Everything on the sling is made. There's a QD on there. I make traditionally QDs in the gun world.
If somebody wants to buy any of this stuff, where do they get it online?
Sheriff of Baghdad, Joe.
SheriffofBaghdad.com.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. Okay. Here's another thing I got you. Punchers, punch daggers.
okay.
So it's G10. I got a few of them
Oh,
here.
okay. So this doesn't even go through a metal detector.
That's right. There's no metal in the sheath. It's all plastic screws. Cleans up easy. No, it won't. No DNA. You can clean it in diesel fuel. It'll wash all the DNA off.
Diesel fuel.
Yeah, you're washing anything.
Is that the move?
Alcohol, yeah.
Diesel
I think
fuel's
so.
the move?
I think so.
Just
yeah.
go to the gas station. Get on the
yeah.
canisters.
Yeah, you could do fucking dish soap, but you can't permeate the plastic. It'll come clean. And I sharpen them with normally with like 400 grit sandpaper.
Do you
I just,
really?
I just resharpen it with sandpaper.
Wow.
But the reason I made it is I always wanted something where like I was always wearing my body armor, right? And I wanted to just put the punch dagger right in the center. That way if something happened, I could get it.
Right.
Boom, and just start fucking punching. I mean, the whole problem with knives is you got to learn how to use a knife. But with a punch dagger, if you could throw a punch,
Right.
you could bury that thing in someone's neck. You know what I mean? Like, which was what I would tell anyone.
Jamie's been looking for one of those for a while, haven't you, Jamie?
When Carl gets out of line.
Yeah, hey. It'll clean the DNA off, sand it down, a little alcohol. Okay, another thing I made, and this is super important. I call these combat bands. It's a high temperature silicone, but it's a rubber band. The so what here is when I carry this rifle, I'd put a sling on it, but if I'm in and out of vehicles, the sling is always just hanging somewhere, right? So I'd put the rubber band on the gun, and then I just weave the sling underneath the rubber band.
So if this touches the barrel, it doesn't melt.
Right. And then back in the day, I had to use actual rubber bands for parachutes. And it fucking lasts a day. Like in the heat in Texas, a rubber band will last 1 day in a car. Well, that's only 1 day. I got to go out every day in my car, right? So when I retired, it's one of the things I wanted the most. So I made them guys use them to like put suppressor covers, hold them on their, on the suppressors.
You have great videos online, like instructional videos, like how to fight out of your car.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
They're really like informative. Like,
Yeah.
like things I didn't think I was interested in learning. Then I started watching this. Like, this guy's fucking thought this shit through.
It's all I did, Joe. Like, and I'm a simple guy. Let me just show you how I did this, right? Maybe you come up with a better way. I don't know, right? But I think this is the difference between the Army and the unit. In the Army, they're like, here's a gun, kid, go use it. In the unit, they're like, let me show you to the nth degree how to use that rifle. So when something happens, guess what? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's the difference between showing someone something and teaching someone something. And I think
Right.
those are different. And
Yeah.
I think that's what the unit was good at. Here's some of my favorite things: the boot kits, Solomon boots. Made for the military. I've been wearing Solomon boots. You'll see a set of Solomon boots in the Saddam picture.
I hunted with them this year.
Yeah. It's all I wear, Solomons, right? Well, if you got the quests, you know how the laces kind of come.
Yep.
So
Like the running shoes do.
Yeah. So I turn them into like the running shoes.
Nice.
Yeah, we sell a ton of those. Okay.
And what do you do with the extra lace?
Cut it
Tuck
off.
You just cut it off.
I loosen the boot where I get my foot out, and I cut the excess off and put the end on.
Okay.
So I don't have like 3 feet of laces. I only have like 8 or 10 inches. You know what I mean?
Right,
6
right.
inches, whatever it is.
Okay.
These are some of my best things. This is I would call it a scribe tool, right? In the fact that it's a carpenter pencil. Makes sense? You know a carpenter pencil?
Sure.
But the middle is G10. Same thing as the punch knife. So it's for stabbing. A
Yeah.
lot of guys carry them, go through metal detectors. A lot of guys carry them airports, like these things. I get
Right.
pictures of these things everywhere.
Yeah.
I made it fist size so you could punch with it or kind of get a good stab with it if you wanted. You know what I mean? Something I always wanted.
Smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a pencil like that.
Yeah.
Someone gave me.
Yep. Okay, so check this out. Here's a bunch of stickers we make. Some of the things that happen on the range. Blind guys, I always tell them they can't see shit. You know how like when you shoot and guys like really push their butt backwards? I call that the prison wallet. You know what I mean? I'd be like, man, showing me your prison wallet. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of stickers that are like funny shit. I tell guys all the time, like a guy will be shooting good all day long. And the end of the day, he'll fuck something up, and I'll just come up. All I gotta do is whisper to a guy, and be like, "Sucks to suck, don't it?" And the guy would be like, "Shut the fuck up." You know what I mean? So all the stickers are just funny shit that happens on the range, right? And then look, this is the premise of the NRA show we talked about earlier. Is I made a little card. The gun world is sketchy information at best, generally speaking, of where your bullets go and why. Like it's fucking magic.
This is about eye dominance.
Yeah, one side's eye dominance. The other one is how to fix yourself, where the bullets go and why. Makes sense?
Yeah.
So look, this edge.
Grip. Well, how you
Yeah. So look, this edge
Tension
is,
on the left hand.
Yep. And then like you use this edge. So if your group is generally tall, right? You got stance issues. And then as you see your group, whatever angle it's on, the arrows point to it and tell you how to fix it.
Interesting.
Now, backside eye dominance. This is where the gun world fucks up. And I'll tell you this. The gun world talks about 2 things for eyes. Primary hand, primary eye. Right-handed, right eye dominant.
Right.
They talk about being cross-eye dominant. Right-handed, left eye dominant. Right?
Right.
Okay. Here's how the vision, I think, really works. Okay. Being primary hand, primary eye is the guy who makes all the rules in shooting. You should open your eyes. You should
Right.
do this, right? He
Right.
makes all the rules. But the reality is his vision is his right eye on a scale of 1 to 10. He'll tell you borderline 11 because it's that fucking good. You know what I mean? Borderline 11 in the good eye. Ask him the vision in his other eye, and he's going to tell you hard 8. It's not really so good. This guy will always be able to keep the other eye open. Makes sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now, these are the same thing. Whether you're primary hand, primary eye, or cross-eye dominant, it's the same thing. You have a strong eye and a weak eye, and the strong eye takes over. Doesn't fucking matter. Strong eye takes over.
Right.
Fucking easy for you. Okay. This is 1 out of 10. The other 9 are what I call eye neutral. Right? They don't have a dominant eye, and either eye could take over at any time because either eye on a pistol could see the sights at any time.
Right.
And this is where people get fucked up.
That makes sense with archery too.
100%. It's the same.
Don't like to keep both eyes open. I've
Yeah.
tried it.
Yeah. Well, that's because you're what I would call eye neutral. Say what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then I would also say this. If you have a gray hair on your head, you're closer to being eye neutral than any eye dominant any fucking thing because of life, right? And the reason I would tell you that is because the part of the brain that works the eyes is like the part of the brain that works the ears. It's the part of the brain that works the legs and the arms, right? They work, all these things on your subconscious, I think, work better together and are stronger together. What do I mean by that? You know, when it comes to leg days, dudes are like, dude, man, bro, on a squat 500 on leg day. Okay, does that mean you can do 250 pounds with one leg? No. You can't, probably, right? Because the legs are stronger together than they are independently.
Right.
And this is a function of the deep part of your brain, the fast part of your brain, right? So having said that, you can't choose an ear, can you?
Right.
The only way you can choose an eye is the eyelid, which has nothing to do with vision or dominance. See what I'm saying?
That makes sense. I've never heard anybody say that before, but now that you're saying it, I'm like, okay.
Yeah. So if you look at the card, right, if you're like right-handed, right eye dominant, you should be hitting in the middle of the circle there, right? But if your left eye takes over, look where the rounds will go. And it'll always be eye distance apart on your target. So people that have eye issues, they don't shoot one group. They shoot two groups, one for each eye, and the gun goes left eye, right eye, left eye, right eye.
Evan was telling me that he learned to practice left-handed a lot.
Yeah.
And he practices things, even though he's right-hand dominant.
Yeah.
He's like, it helped the right side to practice with the left side.
Yeah.
Do you subscribe to that?
Yes, I do. And I'll tell you why. Before I retired from the Army, I tore my bicep out of my left arm. I'm left-handed. So I went and turned in all my left-handed holsters and got right-handed holsters. And I was like, I'm going to train myself to be right-handed from here forward because the VA said I'd never use my left hand again. So I was like, okay, fuck you guys. I'll be a righty. You can't slow me down. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then I started training as a righty. Took me about 2 weeks. I was fucked up. It was tough. You know what I mean? I had to stick with it. Fucking a lot of frustrating days. And after about 2 weeks, my brain just transferred all that skill to the right hand. And I just fucking rocked it from then on out.
It makes sense because you have this mental memory of excellence with one side. You just have to...
Well, think about this. If you actually knew perfect practice, you could switch that to the other hand.
Right.
But if you never knew perfect practice, the other hand would get the same garbage.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah. So
the eye thing completely makes sense, and I've never heard anybody say it before. Everybody says you should keep both eyes open.
Well, you should, but the guy who made that rule has a strong eye and a weak eye, and he can do that.
Right.
Where your brain, when I say someone is eye neutral, your brain treats your eyes as equal. What does that mean? Your vision could be shit, it could be great, but the brain says, I got two windows. I look out of this one, let me look out of that one. And
you're going back and forth.
You'll see the gun move, you'll see the head move, and and then most of the time it just, like, it's no good. You're just not seeing it good. Make sense?
It does. Are you one of those guys that resists red dots, or do you
I don't give a shit. You know what I mean?
But did you ever resist it at all, or do you?
So,
because iron sights never fail you; they're always there.
Yeah.
No batteries.
I am not a red dot guy. I'm an iron sight guy. However, let me explain myself. The internet knows me as a red dot hater, but I'm taking that video and I'm going to draw one line through that red dot back to your face, and if it don't point exactly to your eye, you're shooting and not seeing shit. And every time I show this to somebody, they're like, "So you're against red dots?" No, you're never going to catch the red dot unless you get better technique.
And you get better technique with iron sights.
Well, no, you could have good technique with a red dot also if you had fucking good technique and someone showed it to you, but no one shows it to you, right? The next thing with the red dot is great for guys who don't see well. Because what happens is the red dot becomes in between you, your eye, and the target. Makes sense, essentially, right? So you'll be able to see that. But what no one tells you is it's harder to learn, harder to master. So you need it, but you need to train with it properly or it's not doing
Why
you
is it
any
harder
good.
to learn?
Few reasons. If you look at pro shooters, high-level pro shooters, guys that are like fucking insanely fast, winning, national IPSC champs, Rob Latham, Dave Savigny. You look at these guys, what you'll see is like they're so much more efficient than anyone else, right? And they'll use a way bigger sight. Like, I think the winningest sight of all time in like gun games is it's like the Seymour STS, but it's like more of the size of a beer can than it is the little tactical sight.
Right.
So now when you shrink that thing down to a postage stamp, they put a coating on it so it doesn't fucking reflect or whatever, but you can't see through it well. And they curve the glass, which anyone who shoots rifle scopes will tell you fisheye's a fucking real thing.
Right.
But this red dot has all these things going on, and it's supposed to be better for a guy who don't see shit.
That's interesting.
And it just becomes harder to do. And then once you show them how to get it right, like, they'll never have problems again.
But it's all about showing them how to get it right.
Right.
Yeah.
And then no one talks about that because they're stuck on you can't use the right eye, or they never get past that
How
point.
important is it to teach people the right way the first time so they don't have to unlearn shit?
Man, everyone has a preconceived notion of what they think they should do, whether you've shot before or not, and I'm going to have to unfuck that.
No matter what.
No matter what. So it's like, kind of like in the dojo where it's like, okay, I want you to do like 20 shitty arm bars, and then we'll get the hips better on the next 20. We'll tweak the hand on the next 20. You know what I mean? Like, get some of them bulk movements down first.
Right.
And then we keep fine-tuning.
Right. Fine-tuning.
So it doesn't matter look, even if you learned how to punch from John Jones on your first day, you wouldn't go out and win a match that night.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think it's like, I tell people this all the time, 1% better a day. Just 1%. That's what I'm looking for today. If I can be 1% better today than I was yesterday, well, that's 365% by the end of the year, and I didn't do much every day.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I always tell people, like, shooting or a skill like this is a marathon, not a sprint.
Right.
So it's better.
And that's with everything, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
And I tell you, if you think you're going to have to pull a gun and save your family one day, you should be practicing a few times a week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be much, but you should be practicing a little bit.
Yeah.
Getting this gun out shouldn't be a shock to you when the time comes, because it's not going to come to you then.
Right.
Yeah.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy teaching?
I fucking love teaching. I love helping people. Now that I'm doing jits again, a lot of people want me to show them like fucking cars and guns and jits and guns, and I don't know if I'm ready to take my sanity pastime and turn it into work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
I understand.
I play with guns now, and a lot of guys have told me I need to be like, like the car bailouts, like all this shit. Like I do. I'm afraid to ruin jiu-jitsu as work. So I've been reluctant. And I always tell people I'll never teach jiu-jitsu, but like I'll fucking teach anyone everything. I mean, if we can get better today, let's talk about it. Let's
thing
fucking
about
try it.
Teaching jiu-jitsu though is I think it makes you better at jiu-jitsu. I think it's selfish.
100%.
I think it's like a good thing for you.
Well, okay, you know this. You're a black belt, right? Every day you went to a dojo, you were trying to hand that black belt his ass. And then you get your black belt, and now everyone every day the rest of your life is trying to hand you your ass. You know what I mean? It's a fucking thankless job.
Yeah.
No,
There's
I
no
love
day
it,
where no one's trying to hand you your ass.
Fuck yeah, let's go.
That's the beautiful thing about jiu-jitsu too.
I know.
Like you don't really,
you
don't catch any breaks. You might get one day where there's like, oh, there's only blue belts here.
I love it when someone forces me into like real survival mode. Now I'm not talking about like, you got a triangle and I'm just gonna ride this. I'm talking like someone like. I'm like, fucking, I got to do something now. I fucking love that, man.
How are you avoiding injuries?
Okay, so first and foremost, I started out, I don't even take Motrin. I try to take no drugs. After I got off the pills from the VA and started getting active, and I try not to take any medicines at all. I went to Master Worlds, and motherfuckers are yoked up, fucking, and the gear is out. You know what I mean? Like, these motherfuckers are working out since last year just to fucking stroke a motherfucker today, right? Yep. So like, I was a little unprepared this year for Worlds in that aspect, but I'm all for the peptides. I'm all for the TR. I'm not against any of it per se, and I think that's I did the peptides. I don't like shots, like
right.
And I won't give myself a shot.
You were talking about that on Sean Ryan's show. You don't like the idea of something piercing your skin.
Yeah, like I don't like that. I don't know
That's so
why.
weird.
Right? Like I know.
It's so
I
weird.
know.
A guy who's been through everything that you've been through is like needles. Sketch me out.
I mean, just give it. It doesn't hurt. Like I'm not a sissy about it, but it's like
But peptides are so easy though.
I know.
It's
Well,
just
I took
pinch
the pills.
fat.
I took the pill once.
PPC 157.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, like,
Super legit.
what is it, Gary Brecka, that guy?
Yeah.
He talks about redheaded people. I'm a redheaded people. I got pale skin. You know,
Redheaded people have better pain tolerance.
yeah. I take drugs different.
I
Like,
think there's a thing about that though. See,
Yeah.
Google that. Redheaded people have better pain
hey,
tolerance.
my whole life I've taken drugs differently. Like I
Like
don't
the
get
roofie.
Percocet. I get Dilaudid.
Ah.
So I think like,
like
you,
when you got roofied. Like everybody else conked out.
yeah, I'm just in over party mode.
But
like
you were also talking about on Sean's show that you have the thing that Jamie has where you can take a lot of edibles and you don't feel it.
oh yeah, the
Jamie
weed
has
gummies
that.
are
Look at that.
fucking worth
Some
it.
studies have found that redheads have a lower pain threshold, but other studies have found the opposite. Oh, okay. So it's all fucked up.
Yeah,
Inconclusive.
who knows?
Inconclusive.
Yeah, but
Guess
yeah,
it
man.
depends on the individual.
So, but I will tell you this: it healed my stomach, and my healing went from like a week or two to like
Yeah.
4 days.
BPC 157 is very legit.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
so anyway, I want to do more in the future. I'd like to. I kind of want to do it all. Like, I mean, I'm 54, man.
Yeah.
I
Well, that's
need-
why I was asking you.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what are you doing to avoid
So
injuries?
okay, so besides that, I do cardio. A couple years ago, my first elk bow hunt. You know, we ride up to like 9,000 feet and then like walked up 3 miles from there.
Yeah.
Like, hey, yo, I was 280 at one time. That was a fucking hell of a walk for a big fat motherfucker up that fucking mountain. And then I hunt with these old guys, and then the two guys I was with, like 2 of the guys have hearing aids. And the
From
other,
guns, right?
huh?
From guns.
I don't know, they're just older,
Most of these guys with
whatever.
their ears blown
yeah,
out.
yeah,
Old
they're
hunters.
hunters, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So both of them got hearing aids, and the front one looks back to the second one, both good friends of mine, like, and was like, "Turn your hearing aids down so you ain't gotta hear him breathe so fucking loud." And I'm like, "I heard you, motherfuck you!" Like, so I told myself like I was gonna start walking 30 minutes a day, and that was fucking hard. And then now I do like an hour of cardio. I could run, but I don't. But I started again. I need to be running a little bit for cardio. I treat strength as 2 different things. I spent about a year with 15-pound dumbbells, just like rehabbing motion, movement, joints, and it was a lot of fucking pain. And then, you know, now I'm getting stronger every day. I've been, you know, power athlete, Big John, but I kind of look at strength 2 different ways. I try to do strength days where it's like the traditional squats, deads, like all the big ones, push pulls, all of it, covered all. And then I see it as conditioning as something separate, right? And conditioning would be lighter weight, like CrossFit like round, like
Right.
without knowing how to say it better.
Yeah.
So, but the steps, fucking, I'm gonna tell you this. I'll tell anybody this. You want to fucking start losing weight? It starts at 10,000 fucking steps a day. Get your ass out there. Start fucking walking. And then the next thing I did is I went to a competition class by Sean's in Tennessee, and I got a diet, I got workouts, I got an app, I tracked my diet. I did, right before Worlds, I was at 170 grams of protein, 1,800 calories a day.
So you're very strict about it.
Yeah, and I shredded weight. I cut down. I was probably 240. I cut down to 222. I was the smallest human being in the fucking 222 because everyone's yoked up like fucking madmen.
And they probably all cut weight too.
Well, my coaches were like, you know, and I can't believe I even listened to this, but they're like, man, it's the 55 bracket. Like, it's guys like you. This is their pastime. You know what I mean?
55 today is not the same.
Yo, these motherfuckers this is fucking killer season out at this bitch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I was unprepared for, man, I had this big Mongolian motherfucker. You know Edwin Jammy? You know Edwin? Edwin Gracie Barra, Tarzana, California, right? Edwin's like a jiu-jitsu legend. He's at Worlds. Who's your coach? I don't fucking have a coach. It's me, my backpack, and a gi. Let's fucking get this fight going, bitch. Right. And he's like, well, I'll coach you. And I'm like, well, okay. You know what I mean? I don't got a coach. And then like right before we walk out on the mat, he's like, yo, ref, are they the same weight class? And I'm like, yo, my man, Ed, this is my coach right here. My man. Like, You know what I mean? But like this dude was fucking huge, and he was one of them Mongolian jacket wrestlers. You done this?
Oh, I've seen that.
I couldn't get the takedown, and then we went down on the ground. He hit me with a fucking paper cutter, popped my head out, tried to choke me again. Fucking got out of it, but as I was getting up, I knew I needed to keep this guy on the ground. But guess what, man? When you get in trouble, guess what you do? You stand the fuck up, and this dude stand up, and I knew I wasn't getting my 2 points back. And then I was just fucking exhausted. Like, I was fucking
So
gassed.
you decided to ramp up the conditioning.
Yeah, fuck yeah, man. This year, I'm fucking winning. I'm fucking world champion, Joe. I'm the toughest old motherfucker I fucking know. You know, God damn it, let's fucking go. I'm going to figure this shit out. But I will tell you, I think what I didn't know is you got to train to compete well. Mm-hmm. And I fucking fight, and I want to fight, and I want to get smashed, and I want to almost lose this fight 10 fucking times to finally get that fucking submission on you. And that's a great fight to me. And like, you just lost 13 points on that. Dog.
Right.
And then if you don't get the submission, you just lost 13 points on that. You know what I mean? Like, so it's a different animal.
About treating it like the sport versus what you get out of it.
Yeah,
what you like.
And I'll tell you this is like, I probably could have changed the match if I would have pulled guard around 3 minutes in. I ain't never pulled guard in my fucking life. Like, what kind of fucking asshole pulls fucking guard? Well, I figured it out. I'll tell you what kind of asshole. When you can't take a bigger motherfucker down, this is maybe what pulling guard's for. Yeah. Or, in the real world, walk the fuck away.
Yeah.
Before you fucking just get fucking smashed out here. You know what I mean? Thinking you're something you ain't.
Do you spend a lot of time practicing off your back? Because a lot of times with big guys, they don't
I'll start there. Fucking get my neck. Let's go. You can't I will give you my back just to fucking get out. I don't give a fuck, man. I love it.
That's great.
I always like, honestly, when I'm just at the dojo, like girls or smaller people, right? Like I try not to smash them. Right. And I'll tell them like, hey, if I get on top, just fucking sweep me. Right. Stay on top of me the whole time. And I just fucking let them go at me. Like,
I would just pretend that I'm weak.
Yeah.
When I would roll with someone who's weak, I would pretend I'm weak. And I think that's the best way to do it. Yeah. Like, no strength. I'm never going to use strength. Yeah. I think Rickson always said that defense was more important than anything. He said, I am always safe. No matter where I am always safe. Defense.
Your Rickson is great, by the way, dude.
You seen Choke? You seen the documentary?
I have not seen Choke, but I just finished his new book, the Dark one. Dark? Rickson came out with a new book. I just audiobooked it the other day.
Because he's got Parkinson's now.
Yeah, but he's got the Breathe book, but he just came out with a new one. I just listened to it like last week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
you got to watch Choke.
I got to.
One of the greatest documentaries of all time.
I know. I've heard
for
that.
a martial artist.
I've heard
fucking
that.
Incredible. It's Rickson in his prime, competing in Japan Valley Tudo, and just you see him training and doing his yoga and all the crazy breathing shit where his stomach sucks up inside of him. I don't even know how to do that.
Yeah, he when he was testing me for my purple belt, he was like, yes, when I lay on the ground, I am flat. He's like, when you lay on the ground, you are not flat. You should roll more. I'm like, hey, I know you know enough English just to call me fucking fat. You know what I mean? But God damn
you should roll more.
Yeah, I should roll. Yeah. And he's showing me like rolls from side control, getting out of stuff because I am more round than I am flat. And it's kind of like, fat guys should roll more. It's hard to stop, you know what I mean? Like, so there's some real fucking wisdom in there, you know what I mean? But it's like, I always like how like they know enough English to insult you, but they'll say it like their way, you know? Yes, you are.
It's just being practical.
Yeah. No, it's just real talk. And that's what he does. Like,
yeah,
that guy's
It's pretty cool getting your purple belt from that guy.
I am the only person. So, okay, I had to do the paperwork. There's other like big time Rickson black belts out there that kind of police up everybody. So when you go to Worlds or you fight, like these guys, and they told me they'd get me under their paperwork. But literally, I did the paperwork with IBJJF and I sent it to Rickson and he filled out the paperwork. But like, I didn't know. I sent him the paperwork, and it's like one of them forms where you just sign it with your finger on your phone, like super easy. Right. I sent it to Rickson. I was like, "Hey, coach, we got a form. We got to sign." And he's not a member of any of these organizations anymore. So like, I didn't know how this would go, and they like sent me a fucking paper copy, and they like have Mr. Gracie sign this signature, right? So I texted to Hicks, and I'm like, hey coach, can you sign my paperwork for Worlds real quick? And he texted me right back, and he's like, hey champ, I'm looking for a printer now. As soon as I find one, I'll sign this. And I was just thinking, fuck, I don't even know who's got a printer. I don't even have a printer in my fucking house. Like, if Hickson's looking for a printer, I think he just told me no. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Like, fuck. And then, like, a couple days later, he sent it back to me signed, right? I think probably his wife was like, oh, Hickson, yeah, look.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I just didn't think, I think he kind of didn't know. But he got back to me, and then they sent me, I had to do this a few times. And then I was the only guy. I'm the only belted guy fighting under Hickson in Masters right now. Yeah,
that's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, and then I would say this for jiu-jitsu for me is like, I'm so glad it is where it is these days, because back in the day, I mean, think about this. Back in the day, I travel all the time. I'm in a different dojo fucking weekly. You know, I might be here for 4 days. I try to get 3 days of jits. I'm in fucking Waco. I'm going to fucking places. I've been in 26 different dojos this year, like doing jits. Back in the day, that was fucking criante. You know what I mean?
Right.
Fucking monsters in Portuguese. Right? Because you don't have no loyalty. You don't have no fucking... And the reality is like, yeah, I'm just never home.
Right.
I don't want to be unloyal to anybody. I'm loyal to everybody, but I just want to get rounds. And I'm so glad the jiu-jitsu world is so fucking welcoming these days, meaning like I don't have to show up and fight.
Right, much more open-minded.
Yeah,
They're happy to welcome people from other schools.
The only person that was like, why are you here, was Cyborg at Fight Sports.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you know Cyborg?
Yeah, sure.
He's great. And you know
he's
Roosevelt?
A savage.
You know Roosevelt, the tall guy that hangs out with him?
I don't.
Tallest black belt I ever seen. Tallest Brazilian I ever seen, right? So he's one of the black belts down there with him, with Cyborg. And I'm out there, and then like, at the time I was blue belt, you know what I mean? And I was probably, I don't know, 250. I was kind of fat. And like Fight Sports is like old school Brazilian jiu-jitsu where we're going to shrimp across the mat. We do fucking all this. I don't give a fuck if you lose in jiu-jitsu today, but you're going to be tough.
Right.
So it's that kind of shit. And
that's how Carlson Gracie's was.
Yeah.
Before you even got to the class, you were fucking exhausted.
Yeah. The class hasn't started yet, right? So I'm out on the mat. I'm breathing hard. I'm just kind of doing my thing. And Roosevelt, the big tall black belt, comes over and he was like, man, he's like, you are my inspiration. I'm like, I am, coach? I'm your inspiration? He's like, yes. He's like, you are out here. You are doing this, man. He was like, you are everyone's inspiration. And I'm looking around and like everyone's rolling, like, and then like everyone stops because like he's talking to me, you know what I mean? And like now everyone's looking at me and I'm like, what in the fuck is going on, right? So he was like, you are here, you are doing this, you are old, you are my inspiration. And I'm like, thanks, coach. I was like, and then like, I didn't need a break, but I was like, fuck, after that talk, maybe I do need a break. So I was like, maybe I do need a break, coach. You know, and he was like, okay, fix your gi. So I fixed my gi, I tie my belt. And he's like, run laps around the practice until you're ready to practice again. It was like, man, that's fucking worse. I didn't even need the fucking break. And he gave me the old speech, so I agreed. And then I had to run I thought that was more embarrassing, running laps around everybody. Right? But like when he said he wanted to give me a break, like the fucking brakes, it was like screech to a halt. Everybody was like, did he just say, like, why the fuck does that guy get a break? You know what I mean?
Your break was do laps.
Yeah. And then Cyborg came up to me and I didn't have a gi yet. I hadn't bought a gi and I hadn't found a gi that fit me. So I just bought a gi, but I only had a white belt, right? I got the gi at Gracie Raleigh, my home dojo, right? And then they only had a white belt, so I had a white belt, so I was white belting it. But really, I was a blue belt. So, and when it came to rolling, Cyborg is like, "Who are you, man?" I'm like, "Coach," and he's like, "Who are you, man? Who are you?"
I thought you were like a spy.
Yeah, he's like, "Why are you here?" And I'm like, well, my brother lives here, coach, and I called ahead of time and I asked if I could come do jiu-jitsu. I'm just trying to get a couple days while I'm on the road. He's like, man, you are no white belt. Who are you? What are you doing here? And I was like, well, I'm actually a blue belt, coach. And he was like, why didn't you? And then they got a wall of like old belts, which is like the coolest thing I ever fucking seen. Like a just 100 just old, different, all kinds of belts. It's fucking cool as fuck, in my opinion. But he was like, why didn't you get one off the extra belts? And I was like, well, you didn't have one, coach. And he thinks for a second. He was like, you are right. There's not one your size on the wall. And I was like, holy fuck, there's a ton of belts there for him to even know that. Like,
Wow.
Because I went through all of them and couldn't fit one, you know? And he was like, okay. You
So
know?
he was just concerned that you were sandbagging or trying to get information.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. And then, but they were great with me. Like, shout out to Cyborg and Roosevelt.
Hard dudes.
Yeah, they're hard down there.
Magna Rocha, all those guys down there.
But I've been in 26 dojos this year, man.
That's wild.
And then,
so you're all in.
I'm all in, man. I'm in all the time. And then, like, so one of the things is, like, I can only go to Rickson to get promoted because I'm never in one dojo long enough
Right.
to, like, earn a stripe or
Right.
earn a. So I think it's like I don't know. I feel like I'm fortunate of where I am. You know what I mean? And then, honestly, the reason I went to Rickson is because I could.
Yeah.
And I figured if I need to be tested for a belt,
Yeah.
like, who else should
Yeah.
test me? You know what I mean?
When
And-
you get your black belt, you get a black belt from Rickson. It's like there's very few black belts that hold that kind of weight.
Yeah.
You know, there's like
Yeah.
Henzo,
Yeah.
Rickson,
Yeah.
Jean-Jacques Machado. There's a few of those like old school legendary belts. you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Megaton Diaz. There's like a
Yeah.
few of those legendary old school belts, you know.
Yeah.
Pedro
Fucking
Sauer.
Hegan.
Yeah, Hegan. Yeah, I love Hegan.
I know. I love.
I actually was Hegan's corner guy when he was in Abu Dhabi in 2003. I was
You were?
yelling his timeout. Yeah, because I was there with Eddie Bravo.
Oh yeah,
And,
that's right.
you
That's
know, we all trained at the Machados, so I know Hegan. And then Hegan's like, my friend, do the time for me. And so like he was kind of out of shape, but he's still fucking people up.
Yeah.
But he wanted to know, like, tell me when there's like a minute to go, so I can really fucking hit the gas. Like I
Yeah.
want to coast for a little bit and then decide when to go.
Yeah, I love it. I call it fat guy jiu-jitsu, and I think people are shocked when I say that term, but really it's like the Danaher ageless stuff. There's stuff that bigger guys, less athletic,
Right.
are going to have to do because they can't do a flying whatever. They can't, you know what I mean? And like I love his smash game, and I went to the Machado camp. It was him, Roger, Carlos, and John. John Machado. I love that guy too. You know John?
Sure.
He carries condom holsters.
Nice.
Yeah, he's great, man. But I went to their summer camp, and I was like, "Hey, Egan, can I get a picture?" And like he was sitting on the couch, and Carlos is like, you know, typical bigger brother shit. Get the fuck up, you're lazy, kind of dogging him. So I was like, you don't have to get up, coach. So I sat on his lap, and he was like, what the fuck?
That's hilarious.
But yeah, I went to a Machado camp this year. I spent a lot of time with Rafael Lovato.
I love that dude.
That guy's a fucking legend.
Yeah,
man.
he is.
Like,
He is.
I got invited to Felipe Acosta's kind of and a affiliate training with Rafael. Like, shout out to Rafael. He's a fucking amazing. Every one of his black belts gave me time. Like, and then Felipe Acosta, like, just fucking next level, man. And it gives me hope as an old guy. Like, I know I'm 55, and I know I want to win the fucking 55-year-old bracket. But why the fuck do I need to be in the 55-year-old bracket? You know what I mean? If my jiu-jitsu is good enough, I should be able to fight anyone, right? And that's what gives me hope of fucking carrying on, that one day, like, because, you know, all I do is fight these young guys. And then, yeah, sure, they beat me right now, but, like, you know, how many times did Helio get crushed?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
like, it's the beauty of jiu-jitsu is the age should be fucking the least in this equation. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of where I stand. And I'll tell you, man, anytime someone can fucking put it to me where I'm about to go down, I couldn't be fucking happier, man. I had this black belt the other day out of nowhere just fucking smash me. And like, and then he lets me up, and I just got the biggest smile on my face. And he was like, looking at me, and I was like, that was fucking amazing, coach. I was like, you ain't never smashed me like that, right? And he just kind of looking at me and just fucking tackled him again. You know what I mean? Fucking went right back to smashing me. You know what I mean? Like, I
That's
just
a great
fucking love
attitude.
it, man.
Well,
yeah.
that's the best attitude for learning. There's no better.
Well, I as a human being, I need to learn something every day. I think you're the same way in a lot of ways. Like, I don't care what it is.
I think it's good for you.
Yeah, I do too. I think it keeps your brain healthy.
100%.
I think it keeps Alzheimer, fucking all that bullshit away.
Yeah, I think that's why people get old. It's one of the reasons, other than your body failing, is your mind gets old.
Yeah.
You're not stimulating it.
Yeah, for real, right?
John, this is a fucking awesome conversation.
Thanks,
I
man.
really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I had a great time.
Yeah, thank you.
And I can't wait to read your book.
So, okay. I'm going to get some rounds in the future when you're healthy.
Yes.
All right.
I'd love to do that.
I'd love to get some rounds with you.
Yeah, for sure.
I definitely want to come back. Killed Tony last night. Fucking amazing. It's like bucket list.
You can
for
come
me.
to the club anytime you want.
Man, I couldn't thank you enough. Like, I know I came here yesterday. Not a big deal to me, right? Because, like, yo, I got Kill Tony out of this deal. Like, last night was fucking funny, man. This guy told a joke last night. The funniest fucking joke I think I ever heard in my life. I don't know if I could say it or not.
Which
I don't
guy?
know.
What do you look like?
There was a guy, just kind of shorter guy, white guy, beard, and he just read jokes. He just said like random jokes.
Oh, was one of the bucket pulls?
Yeah, as a bucket pull guy.
Oh, okay.
And then like he said this joke. You want to hear it?
Sure.
Okay. This is the fucking funniest thing I heard in a long time. Why don't police have turtles as pets?
Why?
Because you can't kneel on their neck. I was like, oh,
That's a Kill
my
Tony joke if I've
fucking
ever heard
God. Like, next level right there.
Well, listen, brother, anytime you want to come to the club,
Thanks,
more
Joe.
than welcome. Thank you very much for being here.
Oh, man, anytime,
It was a
man.
great conversation.
Yeah,
I really
thank
enjoyed
you.
it. Thanks for all the swag. Thanks for letting me hold the evil hat.
Yeah. Well, I got to put it back in its box. You know
If
what
people
I
want
mean?
to find you online, sheriffofbaghdad.com.
Yeah, Sheriff of Baghdad, SOB Tactical, either one will get you to me. Like, you type in Sheriff of Baghdad and a ton of shit of me pops up.
And someone, whoever the publisher is,
Yes.
hop on it. 'Cause
Yeah,
I'm sure.
hit me up.
I'm sure that book's insane. All right.
Yeah,
Thank you very
thanks,
much, brother.
Joe.
Appreciate you. All right. Bye, everybody.